What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live vlog. I don't really know what else to call these other than a live stream, but it's been a good 5 years. So if you're somebody who has followed the channel before or has been a viewer of the channel at any point, um, I have been, this channel has been going for almost 5 years. And by almost 5 years, I mean, it's pretty much been 5 years. I think I first posted the first video on the channel back on April 1st of 2018. Don't remember the time of day I posted it, so this is why I say I don't know exactly if it's been 1 year, but it's been close. So I thought on the 5-year anniversary, the 50-year anniversary, whatever you want to call it, I would do a live stream talking about my adventures of beer tubing. But in addition, because I forgot, and by forgot, I just didn't really have time to do this at the earlier this year, the end of last year. Kind of want to do a year in review of 2022 when it comes to beer reviews on YouTube. I want to do my top 22 list of 2022, which I never said. I actually said I wasn't going to do a top 22. I was like, I'll do a top 10. I'll do a top 15 or a top 20, guys. It's top 20. It's top 22. We're probably going to do top 22, 23, 24, 25, and then end it after that. There's no top 26. Now, anybody who hops in here and wants to chat along, talk about the year in beer, what they drank last year, what they enjoyed last year, any styles they got into, any breweries that they happened upon that have now become one of their favorite breweries. We just want to talk about beer in general, breweries being bought, new craft breweries being open, so forth. Like, let's do it. I'm into it. So first, we'll read the comments. We have Chris, very impatient at 3:32. It is now 3:37, saying, start this shit already. And then he comes in and says, hi, Joe. I'm never going to let you live down that Greg comment, though, Chris. That's unbelievable. Friar Joseph says, back. Nice. And I appreciate you. And then Chris says, currently drinking a Great Lakes Brewing Solstice. So for those non-Canadians and people who don't even know there's a Great Lakes Brewery in Toronto, well, technically like on the outskirts, right, Chris? They're not in Toronto, but they're kind of in, they're at Etobicoke. They are a Great Lakes brewery that is on par with their American counterpart. Now, the Great Lakes Brewery or the Great Lakes Brewing Company here in the U.S. is more like old school, right? They're classic beers. They have like a lot of English and German influence. Great Lakes Brewery and Etobicoke, they do some crazy like barrel aged stuff, a lot of hop forward stuff. So two completely different breweries, despite the fact that they share kind of a similar name, almost the same, but Great Lakes is very generic. And then Rick says, I'm back at it. Ridgeopolis, what's up, buddy? Says, you're a goddamn good man, Joey. Chuck. I'm going to need you to settle down, Ridge. Ridge, what are you getting into today? Or you got to work today? So, I actually don't know how this live stream is going to work outside of I'm going to do my top 22 beers. So let's get the boring shit out of the way that most of you don't care, so I can see my viewers just fucking dive off a cliff because they don't care at all. Again, April 1st, 2018 started my channel. We are now April 1st, 2023, 5 years later. What have I learned from beer tubing, I guess, so far? I've learned that it's a shit ton of fun. Like, it's a lot of fun, beer tubing. It's very simplistic. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be crazy. It's me in front of a camera talking about whatever beer I want to talk about. It's pretty simple. And based on the amount of subscribers I have garnered since 2018 and the awesome support from so many of you in terms of viewership, liking, all the comments, beer mails, showing up for live streams, it's surpassed any expectations that I've had going into the channel. I really just thought I was going to review some beer. I was going to have a good time with it. And guess what? I am. But the difference is I have quite a few people watching me, way more than I had thought. I never thought I'd have 3,000 subs at like any point in the existence of my channel. So the fact that I'm like 2 away from 3,000 is just insane to me. But that's pretty cool. But people sharing their experiences. And I always say this in the end of like reviews, and I don't think anybody, people just feel like, I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like people think that it's just like an outro when I say it at the end and it has no real meaning behind it. Where I'm like, oh, if you guys have had this beer before, please post in the comment section. Let me know, blah, blah, blah. That's what I feel people think I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if you've had the fucking beer before, or if you had anything from the brewery, or anything within the series of the beer, let me know. Like, there's a little bit of what is that here? Let me know. I never understood people who do beer reviews on YouTube and don't comment or don't interact with people who watch your content. What the fuck is the point of being a beer tuber if you're just going to post reviews and never interact with anybody, whether that's fellow beer tubers or people in the comment section? I don't know why you would do that. I'm not attacking anyone who does that, but what I'm saying is I don't understand it personally. Like, I post reviews to have a back and forth with people. I have tried so many beers and I've been introduced to so many breweries from people that watch the channel, that have become friends, who I've exchanged beers with, or they've sent me beers. Like, it's such a cool thing. But I don't get like beer tubers who never respond to the comments or just don't care. Like, I don't know. It's such a small niche thing, like the genre of beer tubing or beer reviews on YouTube. That's like, you're not somebody that has like 5 million subscribers and like you can't respond to everybody. Like, if I get a couple comments on a video, I'm responding to them because it's what it's all about. So anyway, I'm I'm already off on a rant, but I don't get that. We'll read some comments and let me just settle down. Joe, I'm gonna need you to break it down. Just get it under control. Just get it under control. Rich also says, congrats on the milestone. Thank you very much, Rich. And then he says, LOL, had my 2 bottom wisdom teeth pulled yesterday, which was rough. I'm drinking my second high ABV brew today like a fucking man. Rich, I had all 4 of mine. 2 of them were compacted, pulled out at the same time. And it was rough, very, very rough. But all I took was ibuprofen, and that was it. That was good. It was painful, but gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, dude, I hope you have no what do they call it? The dry socket. Don't get into the dry socket. Definitely make sure you don't smoke or anything. So it's like you probably not gonna get that. But man, I've heard some nightmare stories about dry sockets. We don't even know what dry sockets are. I don't know what dry sockets are. Do you know what dry sockets are? I don't know. Too much talk about dry sockets. Dustin says, congratulations on 5 years, man. Thank you. And Dustin's one of those guys, like Dustin, I watch what he posts on Untappd, and it's awesome. And he follows the channel. But it's cool to see what other people drink. It's just, again, Stoney, you looking forward to these Thunderstone? So Stoneyard Vineyards, go check Stoneyard out. Does his own home brews. He messes with scammers, which is hilarious. And he's about half an hour away from my house. I think he's somewhere in the Buffalo. I'm not going to say specifically because I don't know, but he's in Buffalo, in the area. And he says, is this an April Fool's joke? My channel was originally an April Fool's joke, and it still is, Tony. It is. Billy says, hello again. What's up, Bill? Billy was like, like I said, I had to remind him, send him a text. But Billy, I'm old too when it comes to I can't remember. I was just happy I remembered that I was doing live streams today. Sam Spally says, perfect result would be to crack the 3K during the stream, brother. That'd be cool. If anybody hasn't subbed to the channel and wants to sub, feel free. If you want to unsub too to make me further away from that 3K milestone, feel free. It's I never really asked for subs or anything, so whatever. It's pretty cool. Richard says, just finished an Old Nation MI triple IPA from Jeff, aka No Jinx. Never had that one, Rich, but I really like what Old Nation does. And then, Jesus Christ. Chris, super sticker, $22 Canadian. Chris just sent me 67 cents American based on the conversion rate. No, that's probably like $15. Thank you, Chris. I don't know why people are sending me money. Chris, I'm going to need you to settle down. Everyone just settle down with the money. I turned the stickers on, but I didn't think anybody would do it. I just did it to do it. You know what I mean? But thank you. I will probably buy one hazy IPA in your honor, Chris, because it's $15 the owner at this point, right? And then Rich says, I took IPA to the head. Haha, I hate taking medicine. Me too. I mean, that's what sucks with my valve and my heart stuff. I got to take medicine every day. I can't forget. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But the ibuprofen was the only thing that helped me with the. They gave me like actual pain pills and they didn't do anything else. So the ibuprofen helped with the swelling. And then we got Lee Russell saying, congratulations on 5 years. Bless your baboon heart. It's not a baboon heart. It's a baboon valve. It's not the entire heart. Not yet, anyway. The OG king of beer tube, Lee Russell, who is now the king of podcasting, movie podcasts. I don't know. They must be destroyed on site. Go check Lee out. Go check out Ridgeopolis too, especially if you like hazies. He reviews all the hazies. Chris says, you're welcome. Buy 11.9% PA stout. Listen, that fucking chat on Facebook is idiotic between everyone yelling at each other, Redbeard and Dan and Greg and Nick and whatever. Ewert's no longer part of it. all you guys are fucking morons. All right. Well, to varying degrees, but like, get your shit together. All right. Friends are supposed to bust each other's balls. Like, don't take it too seriously. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. So back to the story about the 5th year anniversary. So I've mentioned the story probably a couple times on the channel, but if you're a newer viewer or somebody who hasn't sat through one of these before, so I started my channel, like I said, April 1st, 2018. Now, prior to that, the first time I saw a beer review on YouTube, one of them was this guy, Lee. It used to be Hoagley's Beer Reviews on YouTube. He has now changed that to Imbibe. What is it? High Tide Imbibe? Lee, correct me. I forget the name of your news. I mean, I still watch his reviews. He reviews mostly Nova Scotia beer now. But Lee was one of the first guys that I watched originally. Then I moved into Chad's beer reviews, Jay's beer reviews. Who else? Joe D. Anyone remember Joe D? Joe D still does the Share Beer show. I think it's on Saturdays. He might be actually going live soon. The Smoke and Bing, 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 2 thumbs up. So I watched a lot of those guys in the early days in like late 2009. And I started to really get into beer in late 2009, early 2010. So a lot of their reviews helped me like navigate the muddy craft beer waters. It was tough because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't really drink beer in general. So I was like, I don't know what this raspberry stout's about, right? So I tried to figure out what I was drinking through a lot of beer tubers. Like I lived vicariously through a lot of them. And then in 2012, I started interacting. I actually started commenting on people's videos. I actually sent the first ever beer mail was to Lee. It was a pretty big beer mail back then. I think it was like 9 or 10 beers, some beers that were kind of on his bucket list. And so I understand why people send me beer mails and get the joy out of hearing somebody maybe they enjoy who reviews beers, hearing their feedback on some of their favorites. Exact same thing I did to Lee back in 2012, 11 years ago. And from then on, I started befriending a lot of the Canadian beer tubers because I liked the fact they got a lot of beers that I couldn't get. I think that was cool. And they also would get their hands on some American beers and they would kind of lose their shit because they didn't get the same level of quality. Back then, Canadian craft beer is definitely behind the 8 ball when it came to craft beer. So it was really cool following a lot of them guys. I actually ended up meeting up with a lot of them. We went to the Albino Rhino Beer Festival at like 4 or 5 straight years. And it was just a great time. And so back in 2018, I kept on telling these guys between 2012 and 2018, I'm going to start a review. I'm going to definitely start a channel. I actually asked like their permission to shout them out in videos back then. Never did. So back on April 1st, 2018, I started this to kind of be a gag to see if anybody would actually believe I'm starting one because it's April Fool's Day. Turns out I did. And everyone's worse for the wear because I started this channel. But I started it. And fast forward 5 years later, and here we are. Almost 3K subs. People sending me super stickers for whatever reason. And, tons of beer mails, tons of friends made, tons of interaction. The best thing about beer tubing is the friends I've made over the years because of it. This is one of my favorite hobbies, if not my favorite hobby. And it's really cool. I've met so many good people. Met a few bad apples in the beer tubing community. That goes for any like community. You're going to have a few bad apples, people you don't, see eye to eye with, you don't really enjoy. And I know there's people that don't like me, so that's fine. We all can't love each other. Don't put on the fake smile, But it's been a journey that's been really kind to me. When I feel down, when I feel, whatever mentally, it's awesome knowing that I have a pretty cool beer community that I can just chill with and talk with and, just have a good time with. So I've had a lot of fun, and that's the best thing I've gotten from BeerTube. It's just a high enjoyment factor, more so than the beer or anything that comes with it, just friendship and hanging out with people. So Chris says, he already said that. Yeah, High Tide Imbibe. Yeah. I always feel it's like High Tide and Imbibe, but High Tide Imbibe. That makes more sense to me. I don't know what I'm doing. Bill Rossi, Billy R says, drinking a Firestone Walker 2018 Mole Merkin. I have a 2019 in my closet, in my cellar. No, I fucking have it in my closet. Actually, some people do cellar beers in their closet where they don't have that actual like basement. I don't know why I said in my closet, but maybe I fucking put it in the closet just because I said that. What's up, Angie? Cheers, Joe. If you're somebody who enjoys fluid art and art in general, go check out Angie's channel. Angie's one of the nicest people I've met in YouTube, period. Like, she's a big part of the beer tubing community with a lot of different people, but she also a big part of our community. She's just a lovely individual, but she also has great art. So go check her out. And we have Dan from Poor Michigan Reviews. He says, "My dude, what's up, Dan? Go check out Dan, Poor Michigan Reviews. He likes to focus mostly on Michigan beers, but he reviews a lot of stuff. If you like seltzers, and I don't, but if you do, go check out him and his wife, Danny, who is pregnant and she's due any day, right, Dan? So congratulations to you guys. But yeah, go check them out. They do a lot of different reviews over there, and it's great. Douglas with Beers with Douglas. Congrats and cheers, Joe. Thank you, Douglas. Do appreciate it. Go check out Beers with Douglas, one of the Netherlands guys, along with Thomas Opent and others over there. Gerben, Remy, the whole crew, the Dutch Beer Collective. Great dudes. Go check all those channels out. Lee says, how is there beer tubers who don't like you? Point me to them so I can kill them. There is definitely some, Lee, believe it or not. I mean, I get it. I feel like I don't know. Maybe some of my mannerisms, maybe the way I review beer, maybe my outgoing personality, which can rub people the wrong way. There's a lot of folks that probably don't like me. Sam says, how could anyone not love Joe? They're dead to me. Sam, you must be dead to yourself because you know deep down you hate me. No, I love you, Sam. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Dan says, let the OG speak. Cheers. Indeed, my friend. And Angie says, thank you, Joe. No problem. I only shout out channels that that A, I'm sub to, and B, I watch. Like, is for sure. Dan says, yes, sir. Thanks for the shout out. No problem, dude. You deserve it. Definitely deserve more subs, Dan, for sure, in my opinion. And then Angie says, cheers to Sam Smalley. And Gloomy Otter says, yo, so Gloomy, love Gloomy. You're over. Where are you again in Poland, Gloomy? Gloomy's in Poland, my motherland. Chris, your motherland as well. And he loves the heavily fruited sours. So I try to review some for him. And I know he's like, oh, I want you to review more Mortalis and Froth and so on. And it's pretty crazy. But he drinks some good beer. And Lisa's got to run. Here's to another 5 years show. Cheers, buddy. Cheers, Lee. Lee, I'm going to have to hop on Beer Analysis 101 soon, when I have a Wednesday that I can actually do it on, and maybe it's a wild card one, so I don't have to find the fucking beer. But I miss you guys on Beer Analysis 101. It's a great time, especially Greg asking me when am I going to wear a uniform 7,000 times throughout the fucking video. So I can't wait for that. But at some point I'll hop back on and have we'll reminisce about the golden days and about how Nick probably should eat some more vegetables. Maybe Carrie should stop running over kids. Just things like that. Cheers, buddy. All right, so now go back to the channel anniversary. I already pretty much talked about everything prior to 2018. I do know, and any fellow beer tubers out there in the comment section, like Dan, for instance, like Lee, like Douglas, Ridge, anybody in the comment section, like any other hobby, you can get burned out with it, right? You can definitely get burned out on reviewing beer, 100%. There's only so much you can say about certain styles. Especially like hazy IPAs or IPAs in general. There's certain tasting notes. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy hops now, but so many of them are very similar. So when you get like a beer with a new hop that produces a new character, you kind of are over the moon because you're like, holy shit, like, wow, I never tasted this before in an IPA. But for the most part, it's very mundane at times because it's very similar. But I will honestly say I have never gotten burned out on BeerTube, period. Now, I think the big thing is back in 2001 when I underwent open heart surgery, replaced my aortic valve. I took about 11-month break. I think that kind of rejuvenated me. But to this day, and I say this with 100% pure honesty, in my now replaced aortic valve. Now, I don't know why I said that. I was going to say now replaced heart, but I said aortic valve. I don't know why. I can say this with 100% honesty. I like beer tubing and beer reviewing now as much as I did when I first started watching it. Like, there's something about sitting down and dissecting a beer that still just resonates with me. And when it's a beer that's maybe a new release or maybe a classic or somebody sent my way, like, it's still a joy to do. I don't ever feel like, oh man, I got burdened with this beer I got to review, or oh man, I just don't. I enjoy it. There's a reason I post as many reviews as I do, and why I'm trying to be as consistent as I can is because I do enjoy this. So even though it's been 5 years, I am nowhere close to being burned out. I'm nowhere close to just being, this sucks or whatever. I enjoy it. It's a fun fucking hobby, and I enjoy it. So anybody out there who thinks like maybe I might stop reviewing beer anytime soon, or maybe I'll start falling off in terms of the amount of content I create. And I can't believe you said I create content, because I don't. I fucking create beer reviews that are just not really edited. Yeah, it's not going to happen. For me, though, I do have other interests and other hobbies. So like, this isn't like the only thing I do in terms of hobbies. So it's not like, I don't know. For me, I'm not burned out on it, but I can see how people do. I mean, it's like anything else in life. You get burned out. I mean, everyone's like, oh, somebody would be like, oh, I love steak. Well, if you eat steak literally every day, it could be your favorite food. At some point, you're going to burn out on steak. Like, it's just not going to be as great when you were eating it like once or twice per month. Just how it is. Chris says, exactly why I took a year-long break, burnout. Also to do other things to entertain, for sure. Like, I don't fault anybody who burns out or needs to break or whatever. For me, I haven't burned down on it, but it's safe to say I think that 11-month break that I didn't purposely take, I needed to take, helped a lot. Because when I came back and started reviewing back in the fall of 2021 again, I was rejuvenated, I was refreshed, and over the past, whatever it's been now, 18 months, I'm definitely enjoying it. Sam Smalley with a thumbs up to Angie. And then, see, now Rob from Hobson, I saw you were out and about today, Rob. Hope you're really having a good time. He says, I'm burnout. Now, you've been going for a long time, Rob. How long have you been going, Rob? It's been at least 10 years, maybe like 11, 12. You're definitely, I consider you into the OG part of craft beer reviews on YouTube, or beer reviews, or beer tubing in general. So I can't speak to how I would feel 2 or 3 years from now, let alone 5 years from now. I totally get it. I'm just not to that level, so I'm still enjoying it. But again, I don't fault anybody. Like, it's like anything else in life. Like I said, you get burned down on. Dan says, poor Michigan reviews. He says, when it stops being fun, it's time to take a step back. You got to mix things up. And I think, Dan, that's probably the best advice I'd give to anybody doing beer reviews, but anybody doing YouTube in general, or anything social media wise. If you get to a point where it stops being enjoyable for you, then there's no reason to do it, unless it's your living. And let's be honest here. There's maybe 1 or 2 beer tubers, like the Craft Beer Channel. They have like 150K subs. Simon, Real Ale, maybe a couple others that could probably barely live off of the revenue they generate from beer reviews. But if you're not somebody who does it for a living, and beer tubing is 99.9% people can't do it for a living, if it is becoming a burden and something you don't enjoy, then yeah, take a step back, take a month break, take 2-month break, take a year break, stop doing it. If you're not enjoying it, there's no reason to do it. And that goes for anything in life, outside of obviously a job. But even then, if you're not enjoying your job, look for another one, right? So that is best advice I could give everyone. Yeah, definitely take it easy, step back. If you're actively hating what you're doing and it's a hobby for fun, you don't need to do it. Angie says, I'm a carnivore. I could eat steak every day. I never get sick of it. Haha. There are certain foods that I think I could do that with. Pizza would be one of them. Chicken wings, steak. Yeah, there's definitely foods I think I could, but I don't think I could. I think after like a month or two, I'd just be like, I like pizza, and there's a bunch of different kinds, but I just don't think I could. 12 yeats for life. I think you meant 12 years. I think, Rob, you a little bit hammered, buddy? I hope so. Looks like you're having a good time. Sam says, I just enjoy all the diverse characters from different walks of life. Yeah, I think the cool thing about beer tubing too is, like, even outside of personalities, which play a huge role. I think personalities are very underrated when it comes to anything in life. Like, why would you watch anybody on YouTube if you don't like their personality? I think that's a huge thing, right? And I think a lot of people are just like, oh, I like so-and-so when it comes to beer tubes. I like that he's quick, concise, and to the point. That's not my reviews. Never will be, because I'm not quick, I'm not concise, and I'm never to the point. But I feel like if you're spending your time, let's say I post an 8-9 minute review, if you're going to spend 8 or 9 minutes of your life watching me, I would hope that you enjoy my personality or like how I review the beer. Yeah, the diverse characters from all walks of life, I think that's the cool thing about BeerTube. It's not isn't only it could be local or regional or national, but it could be international. I've met so many cool people in the UK. I met yourself, Sam, over in Australia. I've met a lot of folks throughout Europe, all through YouTube. and it's fucking cool as shit because we all get different beers. We all have different takes on stuff. You hear about the different news of beer in somebody's area that you're like, wow, that's crazy, you know. And I think that's what makes this fun for me anyway, and I think it always will. Billy says, I could eat tacos every day. California has the best Mexican food. Haha. Do they have better Mexican food than Mexico, though? They probably do have the best. I think California down into like Arizona, like the Mexican food. Even you got like Tex-Mex in Texas. I'm sure there's some really fantastic, authentic Mexican food. But you guys out west and Southwest is just, yeah, I can definitely see that. But here's the thing: when you say tacos, Billy, you're talking all kinds of different tacos. And I guess go back to Angie about steak. There's so many different types of steak that, yeah, and ways to make it that you could probably keep it interesting. It's not like you're just eating the same thing every single day. So I get that. So anyway, almost a half an hour into the live stream. So to sum up, the 5-year anniversary, from the bottom of my now repaired heart, 2 thumbs up, because I actually made a good reference there instead of saying valve, because no one cares. I thank everybody out there for the support of the channel. Again, never thought I'd have 3,000 subs ever. Never thought I'd have the viewership I do. I never thought I'd have the amount of people who comment and watch the videos, the folks who send me beer mails, support the channel with, I just turned on the super stickers. I think I have like, I don't know, like $75 already. Like, that's crazy. Like, and again, any money that anybody ever donates in something like this or ever sends me beer or whatever, like, it always goes back to the channel. Nothing's for personal gain, because reviewing beer, you can ask anybody who reviews beer in the comment section right now. You don't make money off of it. You just don't. You do make money. You just don't actually make money off of what you're reviewing. I probably spend about double the amount that I actually make from YouTube. Actually, maybe triple at this point. So, like, I don't make my money back, but I don't give a shit about that. But it's nice. It helps out. It allows me to maybe buy some more stuff that I wouldn't. So, but like I said, I just appreciate the viewership. I only turned on monetization on my channel because YouTube was going to do it anyway. So fuck them. They're not taking my money. I don't care if I'm earning, $5 a year. It's my $5, not theirs. They're just, fuck them. Anyway, I love YouTube, but not really. Anyway, so to sum it up, I can't thank you all enough. I have a great channel because of the people who watch, not because of what I do. And it's just a fun time. That's it. I have fun with it. There's nothing else to be said. I enjoy it. I'm going to continue to enjoy it. We're going to continue to pump out the reviews. Here's the thing, though. I got to be honest with you. I got to do more lives. I just do. I got almost 20 viewers. I know people are like, oh, do some live beer reviews, do some live I need to. I just don't. But I need to. And it'd probably be more like on a Saturday when I do it, or maybe like a Sunday. So I need to make a little bit more regular, and I need to also invite people on to do so. Chris says, I could eat sandwiches every day, lots of variety. Yeah, sandwiches are one of those things that, like, what's considered you consider a hot dog a sandwich, Chris? Because if so, you can eat hot dogs too. Wow, that just updated really quickly. And then he says, LOL. Yeah. And then beef fajitas from Rainier Parade, specifically, not just fajitas, but beef fajitas or fajitas. I take 7,000 beef fajitas. Chris says, settle down, Joe. Not at 3K yet. No, it's just in the vicinity. I'm sure, like, go down. Like, I'm sure some people unsub and then I'll be at like 10 away, but I'm at 3K subs. All right. I'll get there eventually. Angie says, congrats, shows you deserve all the joy and success. Well, thank you, Angie. Travis says, thank you for all the reviews and honesty. Oh, thanks, Travis. I appreciate it. Yeah, I try to be honest with all my reviews. Try to let you know how I feel. I never try to let anybody influence me. Sometimes it's hard, especially if it's a brewery or a style you enjoy, but it is what it is. Drew, cheers, buddy. He says, cheers, bro. Miscellaneous brew reviews. Go check out Drew. He's doing these shorts where he basically does a chug every single day and has a track from one of his favorite artists behind it. So it's pretty awesome. So go check him out. He's doing pretty well, making some traction with that. So congratulations on that, Drew. I know you're enjoying it. Rick says, you're the man, Joe. To be the man, you have to beat the man. And right now, I'm not the man. So, sorry, a little bit of Ric Flair there. Bud Rhodes says, hey, congrats, buddy. Thanks, Bud. And Bud's one of the huge supporters of the channel. I know Bud watches Joe Joe's Arcade is another guy he watches. Bud being in California, I would totally watch Joe all the time too. Go check out Joe's Arcade. Great guy. Sent the FLX boys some beers recently, and I was able to review some with them, some West Coast love. It's funny. The FLX boys sent Joe literally shelfie Genesee beers, and he paid them back with like North Park and Slice and Green Cheek. It was fucking absurd. Chris says live to interact is the best, of course. Tanner, East Coast LQ reviews. Cheers, man. Get now. Listen, you can't be stealing my fucking quotes, Tanner. It says get fucked, nerd. No, you get fucked, nerd. But also go check out Tanner. Tanner needs a little bit more love. He still does liquor reviews occasionally. Sometimes we drink. But he does a lot of beer reviews, and he does them very well. He gets his hands on some cool ass beers because he's in the New England region of the U.S., which have some amazing beers. So go check him out. He deserves more subs for a show. Rob says, "Screw you! I'm not drunk. You are. I'll fight you Saturday night." Omni, baby, leather strap match, Rob. Leather strap match, baby. Dustin Rose doesn't understand anything but leather strap matches, but definitely the Army. He's definitely drunk though. 100% Rob is feeling it right now. I saw he's on Instagram. Fucking, he's drunk. He's definitely drunk. Burning Beard says, "Ayo." Now rest in peace, Scott Hall, one of my favorite professional wrestlers of all time. And when he just did the "Ayo," in my mind, I started thinking Scott Hall's "Hey yo." So I'm just saying, "Hey yo." I'm late. Just cracked a Cosmic Cold Brew from Block 15. Cheers. Cosmic Cold Brew, is that an actual beer? Like Block 15, I know is a brewery, but is that like a cold brew stout, porter? What kind of beer is that? Burning Beer. That's interesting. East Coast LQ review says, "Appreciate it, bro." I appreciate you, Tanner. And Tanner's a bit younger into the craft beer game. You don't get a lot of guys like sub 30 into it because usually people don't find craft beer until later in life. But Tanner does some nice, thorough reviews, and Tanner's a real nice guy. He's kind of like me, where like he's laid back, chill. I'm none of those things. Let's be honest. What the fuck am I talking about? Sam says, if you could share a beer with any wrestler right now, who would you choose and what beer would you have? Holy fuck, I don't know. Sam, you can't spring questions like that on me. I don't know. Right now, honestly, I would love to sit down with Kevin Nash after Scott Hall passed away. And I've been checking out his, I don't know if you checked it out yet, Sam, but Kevin Nash has a really cool podcast that he does where he like opens up about different stuff. He seems like a really cool guy to just sit down and have a beer with. And I would love to hear like a bunch of different stories about him being on the road back in the 90s and whatnot. I think that would be pretty good. Billy says, speaking of wrestling, my aunt used to take me wrestling match in the late 50s and 60s. Holy shit, Billy. That's damn. That's cool as shit. Like that. That's how I ended up enjoying wrestling back in the 80s. I was growing up, I was born in 1980, and I think the first wrestling match I may have went to was like 85. That was like the start of Hulkamania and everything, but I didn't like Hulk Hogan as much as I loved. Like top 3 wrestler of all time for me is Randy Macho Man Savage, which is why if you notice in the reviews, I have multiple Macho Man shirts. One of my favorites. Such a shame that he never had like a proper run as a champion. I mean, he did for a little while, and then the Mega Powers exploded the whole everything there. But like Savage was a fucking beast. I loved Savage. Savage and Scott Hall, 2 of my favorite of all time. Burning Beard said that cold brew coffee is a stout. Nice. And then Rob confirms that he is indeed a little bit drunk. And then Christopher Nutton says, I'd share a beer with Rocky Romero. Yeah. I would, any of the Bullet Club guys, honestly, AJ Styles would be fun to hear some of the stuff about like TNA back in the day. Be interesting. And then, Rob says, so yeah, the name of the podcast with Kevin Nash is Click This. And he says he loved it too. It's great. I like that he's so open about stuff. Unfortunately, Kevin's son passed away recently. So, there's he's, obviously not in the best headspace and whatnot, but like, it's cool to see him so open. Like you don't get like a lot of openness from wrestlers that isn't like shitting on other people. So it's just nice to hear like stories from, 30 years ago. It's pretty cool. And he just seems like a cool guy. Definitely would share a beer with him in Detroit, his hometown. Angie says, El Segundo, a Broken Skull double IPA with Stone Cold Steve Austin because Stone Cold says so. And that is indeed the bottom line. Billy says Pepper Gomez and the original Iron Sheik. Holy balls. That would have been cool, Billy. You got some cool history there, wrestling wise. Oh shit, it's Poppy. Poppy, do I call you Mark like all of your real friends do? No, so Poppy says, Joe. So rare that I do this, but go check out Poppy. Poppy is a food reviewer, so to speak. He's going to cut back on content, I think, starting this month. But if you want somebody who just doesn't give a shit and is just totally honest, like he would even say sometimes a fault where he's maybe a bit too negative, and like then he'll come back on the next video, like, it's maybe a little bit too mean. Poppy, like everybody likes to think like all fast food is fucking great. When somebody releases something, let's be honest, fast food's fucking fast food. You go to McDonald's to get a Big Mac because it'll be cheap or it's convenient or whatever, but fucking fast food isn't great. It's great for what it is, right? But he's honest. Go check out his channel. He also does some like home cooking stuff and product reviews. But more importantly, he's from the Western Europe area. And if he ever comes back up here, we're definitely going to hang out with the FLX boys, because I think Poppy is kind of one of us in terms of just like, who fucking cares? It's when you look at YouTube, like, it's to be honest with you, and I think Poppy would agree, but it's also fun. Like, he obviously enjoys doing what he does most of the time. Sometimes not as much, especially if they fuck up his food. But it's fun doing what we do, but it is fucking dumb to review beer and food on YouTube. It is like in the grand scheme of things, like reviewing stuff in general is kind of fucking stupid. Like we're all the only way you can ever know a product's good is trying it yourself. Yeah, there's some really detailed reviews for like tech and this and that, but like if you try it yourself, that's the only way you're gonna know if you enjoy anything. So I don't know. It's stupid at its core, but man, is it fun. So anyway, go check him out. Good dude. Ranger Parade says, have you ever had Vesleterin 12, Westy 12? Still on my list. Cheers. I have a bottle in my cellar, Ranger Parade, from when they released it in the States for the first time ever, or maybe the only time, back in 2012, 13. Still have a bottle of it. I've had it before. It was really delicious. I had it at a bar in Canada. There's this craft beer bar, I think Greg, Chris, you weren't with us, Chris, but Greg, one of the Canadian, he's not really a beer tuber, but he's like part of the beer tubing community. We went to a craft beer bar. I think it was in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And they had Vesleterin 12 just hanging out. And we tried it, and it was fucking delicious. So I'll be curious to see how a 10 or 11-year-old bottle of that will hold up, but I'm sure it's pretty delicious. Burning Beard says, I've got a lock of back hair from George the Animal Steel. That's fucking pretty cool, honestly. I mean, I don't think I'd ever say that about anybody in general, but George the Animal Steel, iconic back hair. Like, if I had a lock of it, definitely be somewhere where I need to get to it at all times. If you know what I don't, it's just ignore me. He says, congrats on 5 years. Thanks, Poppy. And then he says, that's me, all right. That is Poppy. That it is. But I appreciate the honest reviews. Like everybody who, for lack of a better term, blows like all these. Even happens in beer where like some breweries hyped, and it's like everything they fucking make is spot on delicious. I'm sorry, it's just not how that works. Even my favorite breweries, like the Other Halves and the Hop Butchers of the world, I've had some stinkers from them. For me personally, it's different for everyone, but like, you can't just love everything. But a lot of those food reviewers, man, like it's the new release from KFC. It's the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread. It's fucking KFC, bro. It's a fast food chicken place, fried chicken place. Like, just no, settle down, get it under control. Rob says, I did get a too sweet from a lesser known Bullet Club member at a NJPW show, New Japan Pro Wrestling in London. Who was that lesser member, Rob? Because I'd be curious. Tanner says, someone put ketchup on my Big Mac today. It was pretty fucked up. All right, look. I'm not drunk yet. Probably not going to get drunk. Just drinking a beer. But I feel like I need to be drunk for that to happen and it actually like be okay. Iconic fast food or iconic food in general, if you fuck something like that up, like, hey, all right, let's just deconstruct this as a whole. If you're working at McDonald's and someone orders a Big Mac, you probably should know your iconic burger's ingredients. The fact they would put ketchup on your Big Mac is A, ridiculous, but B, also I'm a little bit curious. I don't know how that'd work. I feel like the mac sauce itself makes the sandwich. So I don't know. Like, you saying that right now, I wish I was hammered because it just makes me hungry. But the fact that I'm not hammered just makes me think too much about it, and I don't want to think about it. So I'm not going to. Poppy says, fun indeed. It is fun. It is fun. Poppy, I've never seen somebody rant as much as you, like every other video, but I'm here for it. East Coast LQ reviews. I just, it's Tanner. I don't keep on reading his fucking name. It says, with a soggy bun drenched in Big Mac soup sauce in the box. So, what? Hey, what? Rein it in. Are you telling me they put ketchup and Big Mac sauce on your fucking Big Mac, Tanner? Please don't tell me that's what they did. Chris says, where was that? Where was what? Oh, the brewery, or the forget the name of the fucking bottle shop in Hamilton. You know what? Let me go to Untappd. And I sure I checked it in. Let's see. We'll do this because, you know. Okay, let's see, Chris, where I have that at. I had it at, actually, that was back in 2016, and I don't think I had I said at BH. I don't know what BH is. Let me see if I can find this for you. I don't know. It was a craft beer bar in Hamilton, but they had Vestletter 12 on the menu, and we got one. I think my buddy Aaron Doucette, he picked it up for us, and we tried it. Tanner says, "Ooh, Tanner," or Angie says, "Ooh, Tanner, I would write a strongly worded email to Ronald McDonald. Ronald McDonald doesn't give a fuck about his Big Macs. He's kind of creepy, honestly, Ronald McDonald." Tanner says, "That clown don't care." That's true. Chris Rainier says, "What's up? What's up, Chris? Been a while." I always remember and recognize Chris because of the Orioles logo. Chris, hopefully the Orioles aren't shit this year. You think that's possible? I don't know. Billy says, "I would love to crush some beers with Andre Giant, the greatest wrestler." Yeah, the stories about Andre, fucking, whew, that man could drink with the best of them. Adam says, "Good evening. Sorry I'm late. I've been fighting with," you know, Adam. Now you can't come in to the Beer Patrol and start talking about toilet parts, but yeah, you can, because that's what we are. We're in the shitter here all the time. He said he lost, so I assume you didn't fix it. Was it broken to begin with? Gerben, happy 5th from Dutch Beer Geek. Like I said, go check out the Dutch guys, the Dutch Beer Collective. Great guys. Adam also says, "But I have red ale. Happy anniversary, Joe." Thanks, Adam. What kind of red ale, Adam? Chris says, "Okay, all good." Yeah, if I can remember or find the place, Chris, I will let you know. It's the initials are BH, if that helps you. It's BH. I don't know. Angie says, "Tanner, yeah, he's a fucking clown. Ha ha ha." I see what you did there. I do see that, Angie. Oh, Takahashi, huh? The Tokyo Pimp. Nice. That's still cool. Don't know what that means, Gerb. Just Did you accidentally hit the enter before you completed your sentence, or are you speaking Dutch right now and I don't know what the fuck's happening? Because that's usually me in a nutshell. It's Rotation Red Ale by PaTroll. PaTroll? I'm not doing it correctly. PaTroll. Okay, so I feel like we've gotten to a point where we've chatted enough about celebrating my fucking channel's anniversary and everything. So now let's talk about beer in 2022. This will be where hopefully you guys interact. If you remember, I actually have all my top beers written down and whatnot. But let's first talk about, this goes for anybody in the live chat right now. Are there any styles in 2022 that you have come to enjoy? Maybe the first time you had the style, maybe a style that has jumped to the top of your list, or like, you know, high up on the list, something you have been drinking that you're like, I need more of this. Where was this all my life? Now, were you somebody who loved hazy IPAs and then all of a sudden Hellas lagers were your jam? Were you somebody that just drank lagers and all of a sudden you're just housing bourbon barrel aged imperial stouts every night? Like, I would be curious to know what you think and what you have come to love in the past year beer wise. For me, there's one style And most of you probably have known what that style is because I review it like once a week. But for me, I'm not a huge lager guy, never have been, probably never will be in terms of, and you can just all lagers, right? They are great. It's a great, lagers are fantastic. And a lot of this lager styles are great. But for me personally, in the last year, Czech style dark lagers, fucking top of the list for me in terms of lagers. And also, it has been a fantastic style for me to actually just drink and enjoy, but also review. I feel like Czech dark lagers are like any kind of pale lager, but we're just like dark. Like the dark malt gets me, the toasted kind of like bread, a little bit of chocolate and coffee, almost like a beefed up English mild to some degree. But like Czech dark lagers, fucking sign me up every single day of the week for those. Someone could throw a Czech Pilsner or a German Pilsner or a Helles lager or this or that. Give me the Czech dark lagers. Give me all of them directly into my veins. Gerben says, just finishing IP from Sudden Death Brewing. So he accidentally hit enter. Nice. How is it? Gerben, is it good? Oh, Christopher says, I've got a spreadsheet with my top 10s from past years. Oh shit. Nice. Yeah. I mean, if you look on my, on the playlist on my channel, I have the top beers of 18, 19, 20, 21, all listed. And I have the 22 unlisted currently because we're going to go over it momentarily. But I like having, like, a lot of times you forget, even though a beer might be great, like you go 5 years down the line, I'm going to be like, oh, what's my favorite beer of 2018? I don't fucking know. That's what Untappd's for, I guess. That's what the playlist is for. I don't remember. But yeah, that's cool that you actually do a spreadsheet. So Christopher, I have a spreadsheet of all the beers I've ever had. Like before I knew there was Untappd and you could do stuff on Beer Advocate, I would document all my beers in a spreadsheet. I'd give it a rating, a spreadsheet. I think I call it a spreadsheet. It's kind of a spreadsheet at this point because I don't really update it anymore. Haven't for like the last 3 or 4 years, but I kept track of everything for the most part because I didn't know there was a way to do that. Chris says, a lot of hazies taste the same nowadays. I'm all about the barrel-aged stouts. I noticed that with you, Chris. Yeah, a lot of the hazies, like, don't get me wrong, I still love the style, but like it's tough to get one that's like stands out from the crowd. You got a lot of new crazy hops that kind of are doing that, but like for the most part, it's like it's a hazy, it tastes good, it's juicy, it's fruity, doesn't have a lot of bitterness. That's what I've come to realize with my palate the last couple of years. I want more bitterness, and I think any hazy that brings like a moderate bitterness to me instantly wins me over. And he says, and reds, like red ales. Oh shit, we got the legend himself. Fucking Craig, Kent Beer Reviews. Holy shit. Craig, I'm going to crown you. Recrown you as the king of beer too. He says, my brother from another. 5 years of torture, but it's something I would be lost without. Happy anniversary, Joe. See, that's the perfect way of giving a backhand compliment, but also doing it in such a way that only Craig could. I love you, Craig. I don't know if you're going to be around later, but we might do an after show on the FLX channel, or somebody else might take the reins. But I'm definitely down to chill out with some folks after this live. We have Gerben saying, really getting into black IPAs. Gerben, you're dead to me. Gerben, I'm unsubbing right now as we speak. No, black IPAs, not one of my favorite styles, but here's the thing about black IPAs. When they're well made, they're delicious. The problem is so many breweries just don't make black IPAs. They make like hoppy stouts or like a slightly darker IPA, but it's tough to get that balance of like us, they're not stouts. That's the biggest thing. In a lot of places just hop like a stout and it just doesn't work. Just doesn't fucking work. Not for me anyway. Bud says, for me, it's been new school West Coast IPAs like North Park, Green Sheik, and McElhenney. So Bud, yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. Did that fucking months you sent me was like, oh, another thing. Where's all the fucking rye beers? I know I talk about it. Czech dark lagers, rye beers. Give me all the fucking rye beers. There needs to be. I love rye. There just isn't enough of them. People, I guess people don't like rye clearly as much as I do, but I want more rye and I want it now. And I'm with you though, but I think the balancing act of a lot of these West Coast breweries doing old school West Coast IPAs with like a new school influence, that's like the best of both worlds because you get, again, at its core, kind of like this Steve Austin's beer. This is kind of in that realm, but not as robust and as quality as the aforementioned breweries. This is what I enjoy. I want a moderate bitterness. I want some of that like that floral, piney, resinous hop tone. I want the citrus. I want to taste the malt a little bit, but then I want that juicy, stone fruit heavy berry kind of feel. And Green Cheek, North Park, and McElhenny are doing it extremely well. Angie says cheers to Craig because Craig is the man. Ryan, he says, hey, Joe, just want to stop and say hi. I'm still down in Savannah enjoying Two Tides. Or I'd hang around. I did see your check-ins. So what's the general vibe of Two Tides, Ryan? Are you unless you left already? I'd be curious because again, I have like 4 or 5 courtesy of Wes, so I'm looking forward to getting into them. But I was curious to know what your take is on them so far. It seems like you've been enjoying them, but I didn't know to what level. And then Tanner says, been really enjoying and looking for more Kolsch beer. So, true story, Tanner. I agree. I'm with you. When people would ask me what's like my favorite lower ABV, like crusher beer, I would always say Kolsch. I think Kolsch kind of, it's lager-esque, but it's not. But it is, but it's not. And I always like the flavors more in a Kolsch than, say, like a Pilsner. Just personal preference, but I'm definitely in that realm. So I'm with you. All right, so I've caught up with comments. Yeah, so I would say check Dark Lager for me, 100%. I can't really speak on like any new breweries that I've been introduced to. Bud, the aforementioned McElhenny, which basically is the former founders of Alpine Beer Company in Alpine, California. I'd like to try more from them. I know they release beers occasionally, and I know, Bud, you've been drinking some new stuff. He says your next care pack will be all New School Westies. Sign me up. I'm into that. Even though if you're gonna omit the Monkishes and the Green Cheek and the North Park Haze, you could throw 1 or 2 of those in. Yeah, it's pretty fucking hilarious though. Oh, sweet. Ryan Ashley. Congrats on the 5th Andy, Joe. Thanks, Ryan. Ryan, we got to hang out at some point in the near future, whether we just pop over to Brewed and Bottled or whatever. Ryan's here in the West New York area. Him and his brother-in-law. We hang out quite a bit. We're used to pre-pandemic, but I've not been able to hang out with him. My other buddy, Sean, from Canada, because Ryan's originally from Canada. He now lives in the West New York area. We would hang out occasionally, bottle shares and shit. Ryan, I actually hung out a couple times, just him going to Other Half when they were opening in FLX. So, yeah, we definitely got to hang out at some point, Ryan, whether we just pop over Brewed and Bottled and drink a couple beers on flight and chat it up. I'm down, though, at some point. But I appreciate you stopping by, dude. Ryan, too many. Listen, there's a lot of Dans and a lot of Ryans on my channel. So many Dans. Not there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, so many Dans. Ryan says, yeah, man, so far I've been impressed, enjoying Two Tides. I haven't had anything less than good so far. Nice. Yeah, they seem to brew pretty good beers. And again, that's just another brewery that I really haven't heard too much about. Wes sent me like 4 or 5 beers from them. So I'm down to, it's another brewery that I've never had anything from. So it's always fun. And that, with like 10,000 different beer breweries in the US, like it's tough. It's real tough to keep up with. So, all right. So what else? So as far as the channel is concerned, in 2022, I reviewed 473 beers. Considering there are 365 days in a year, that means I reviewed typically what I do is almost 10. I basically do like 8 to 10 reviews per week. If you guys watch the channel, basically my schedule is Monday through Sunday. I post 1 beer review per day. However, on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, I post an extra one. The reason I do it on Tuesdays and Fridays is because of the shelfie beer reviews. So I usually post them in the morning, and then later on in the evening, I post like a normal beer review that's not a shelfie. And then on Sunday, I just double up, and because I can post them a little bit later. I usually go 8 a.m. during the week. On the weekend, it's 10 a.m. for the early reviews. And then the afternoon, 6 p.m. During the week and 8 p.m. On the weekend. I'm probably going to keep that going. I typically drink 1 to 2 beers a day. Usually it's 1. Some days it's 2, hence the 10 beer reviews per week. That's all the beer I drink for the week, though. Like I don't do any day drinking. Like outside of today, I didn't review anything today. I'm drinking this. This is the only beer I reviewed, but I didn't do a normal review. Might drink another beer later on or something. But I can't with my, my aortic valve and the medicines I'm on. I can't really go ham to. I've gotten drunk since my surgery twice, hanging out with the FLX boys. I got pretty lit. Didn't mess with anything as far as my tests go and everything. But that's something that is a couple times per year that I can do, not a couple times per week. So that's one thing that I try to do a better job with. So But yeah, 473 beer reviews last year, and probably do the same thing this year, maybe even more. I did take a break a couple times last year. I had a stomach flu real bad last year at one point where it was the worst stomach flu I had. Like I was out of commission for weeks. It lasted like 4 or 5 days. Never had a stomach flu like that in my life. Could have been also, food poisoning, but man, I would not wish that on anyone. And that messed up, the levels for my medicine and whatnot. But yeah, 473 is a decent amount of reviews. So the top 22 beers is still, it's only like not even 5% of what I drank. So I think the list itself is going to be pretty good. Let's see. Angie's a Fluid Art says, cheers, neighbor. So her and Ryan are like 20 minutes away from one another. It's crazy. It's crazy. Beer tubing community, as small as it is, how many people are like nearby one another. It's kind of crazy like that. That Ryan, who is a viewer of my channel, FLX, and now kind of like ingrained in the beer tubing community as far as a viewer, but he did hop on a live stream of the FLX Boys channel a couple days ago. It's funny that he's just 20 minutes from Angie. Just insane. Chris says, how's Average Pops doing? Miss him. Yeah, he's doing pretty well. He's had some health issues this past year, but things are getting better. So yeah, he's got a lady friend, Chris. So he ain't got time for you and Greg. You and Greg and your bullshit doesn't have time for it. None of that. Now, at some point, we'll have to come up and get some Chalet, and I want about 7,000 peanut butter on Henry bars. He says 473. That's a U.S. pint. I see what you did there. Don't ever do it again. It's yeah, it is, but it's not because it's 473 different beers. Fucking guy. All right. So we're almost at the 1 hour mark. Let's go over my top 22 beers of 2022. Now, this is where if you guys in the comment section want to post your top 3, top 5, top 10 beers that you had last year, just a single beer that you had last year that kind of blew you away, feel free. My list is, I tried to do here's the thing with these top beer lists. Certain styles are just not going to be there. No lagers are making the list. Certain styles aren't in the list. It's a lot of the stuff that I've enjoyed. But here's the thing about 2022 to now, a lot of these styles, at least a couple of them, like the heavily fruit smoothie sours, they're not getting as high as ratings as they used to get. Even in the last 6 months, they starting to go down a little bit because of drinkability issues per se. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen. What I did is I made a top 22 beers of 22 playlist, and I don't think you guys can hear the audio. You guys can let me know if I played, if you can hear the audio. I don't think you can though. But I'm just going to show you the video and talk about the beer real quick and then move on, because we got 22 beers to talk about, 1 or 2 minutes. I don't want this live stream going more than a couple hours, to be honest with you. So I'd like to have this done by 5 o'clock to 5:30, somewhere in that realm. So let me share the screen real here, make sure everything's cool here. You can see some of these reviews is where I had the flow. I had the hockey flow going on. So I'm going to present here, share screen, and we will share this and see how it goes. Now, what is better? Is this better? Is this better? Is this better? I'm going to leave myself up here, but probably do it like this. So as you can see, I got the top beers. I'm going to knock them off so you can't see them anymore. So let's start with beer number 22. So beer 22 comes from Hitchhiker. And Hitchhiker is a brewery out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now, this beer was sent to me specifically by a viewer of the channel, Dan. And the beauty about this beer is, I just talked about heavily fruited sours. This is a heavily fruited sour without being a heavily fruited sour. They call it a smoothie style, but it's not. It was a plum and blueberry heavily fruited sour that ended up tasting nothing like a heavily fruited sour. It wasn't thick like a heavily fruited sour, wasn't overbearing sweet like a heavily fruited sour. It basically tastes like the filling of a blueberry frosted donut, sans the sweetness, cut the sweetness in 50%. That's what it was. It was the first time I think I had one of these smoothie style or heavily fruited styles that was actually not crazy sweet and was super drinkable. I wanted to crush. I gave it a 4.65 out of 5, and I wanted to make the list because when it comes to all these heavily fruited smoothie sours, they're just too sweet, a lot of them. So this, I really appreciate it. And it came from a brewery where I had no idea they were even brewing this, let alone I got a chance to try it. So If you ever see this beer specifically, 8%, plus it was 8% too. Conditioned on tart plums, blueberries, cinnamon, lactose, and vanilla. Like I said, you would think that's sweet. It wasn't. And at 13 comments on the review, it's all right. It's all right. We also have Paul, PA Brew, who says, cheers, all. Congrats, brother. Thank you very much, Paul. Go check out Paul. He has a new channel. Paul, what's the name of the channel again? It's PA Outdoor Couples. Him and his lovely lady friend. They go to all places outdoors in PA and check it out. And I love Paul, so go check him out. He also does some awesome, is a painting YouTube channel now, and he is a great artist, so go check him out as well. Ryan says, I will say I've tried 8 beers from 6 Southern craft breweries while I've been down here. I've been rather disappointed. Too tired to change my mind. Their sours are amazing. So you heard it here first. Ryan says Southern beers are shit. Yeah, PA Outdoors Couple. There you go. Go sub. And what's the art channel specifically, Paul? Throw it on there and we'll make it happen. So yeah, that's number 22 on my list. Number 21 is another kind of weird beer. So this was from Abomination. I'm sure some of you, especially if you're in the US, have had Abomination. Here we go. Painting with PA Brewers. And then Adam comes up and says, chili beers are the only beers worse than pastry sours. Damn, I love me some chili beers, Adam. You're a fucking maniac. Chili beers are delicious, bro. Anyway, so this is Dreamatorium. This was a collaboration between Abomination and Skygazer, who both brew out of the 12% Beer Project location in North Haven, Connecticut. And this beer was wild because it was like an Imperial Stout meets like a smoothie sour. It was thick like a smoothie sour, and it had like a raspberry kind of thing going on. But the Imperial Stout was the base, and it was insane. I gave it a 4.65 out of 5. It would have got a 5, but what's the problem? Like a lot of pastry sours or smoothie sours, they're too sweet. They're just too sweet. They are. They use so much fruit puree that it's tough to make it not sweet. And then so many of the pastry sours. Here's the one thing I will say about this. We'll put this back up from Adam. The pastry sour issue I have is they're all crazy sweet. Like if you're making a pastry sour, I get it. It's called a pastry sour, but you should be at the very least firmly tart or maybe have some kind of sourness. And a lot of them don't. They're just like drinking an actual liquefied pastry with all the sweetness. And that's just not my jam. So, but the Dreamatorium, this beer specifically, was fantastic. I still have not had a beer like that. I've had a lot of pastry stouts that still haven't rivaled that in terms of thickness and just uniqueness. So that definitely has to be on the list. And Josh from Last Beer says, good morning, all. Josh is already super hammered, has no idea where he is, and he thinks it's 4:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not surprising. Anyway, next we have from Hop Butcher. So, all right, back for another beer. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't want to hear me say, all right, back for another beer review. What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review. That's, you hear it enough in my reviews. So this is number 20 on the list. And the reason why I put these two beers on the list, so this, as you can see right here, is Triple Grid. I also am doing this mostly because of Double Grid. So I reviewed Double Grid back in 2021 when I brought back the channel. And Double Grid to me is probably my favorite hop forward beer, period, from Hop Butcher. And Triple Grid isn't far behind. So I would say this is more Triple Grid and Double Grid. It's a very simplistic beer. It's a Citra Mosaic hopped. This is a triple, specifically this Triple Grid. And Double Grid is a double IPA. Citra and Mosaic, very common hop combo. That, to me, is my favorite Hop Butcher beer. Double Grid and Triple Grid's not far behind. Just beautifully well made. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot recommend Triple Grid enough. But yeah, it's the only two beers I'm having on the list from Hop Butcher. Nothing else made the list, but I had to definitely talk about Double Grid. On top of that, I had a couple other beers from Hop Butcher that were good that didn't make the list, were Bughouse Square and Mo Onions. Both of those were really good double IPAs. So, and then Josh says, I want Joe to drink a Natty Bo. Well, Josh, you're going to have to send some to me because I'd love to review me some Natty Bo, but let's be honest, we don't get it here. So you tell me how we make that happen, good sir. Maybe throw some Natty Bo and some Fresh Stone in the mix. All right, so that was number 20. Number 22, or number 22. Number number 19. That's how math works, ladies and gentlemen. From Monkish. Now, this was sent to me by Bud. As you can see, I have the dates here. April 5th of 2022. So this was a big triple IPA brewed with Citra, Nelson, and Simcoe. Street sweeping. Absolutely fantastic beer. The best part about it to me was, and this is the one thing I noticed, and Bud, if you're still watching, I think this is the one thing that separates West Coast hazies apart from like East Coast hazies. There's always like a decent, like almost moderate bitterness from West Coast hazes that just scream to me. Like they sing to me. It's exactly what I want. And this beer, I gave a 4.75 out of 5 because of that reason. It was a beautiful, spot on West Coast haze, moderate bitterness, all the fruity, juicy goodness you want from a hazy, but not too sweet. And I loved it. Chris says, I can send you some Bo and some other local MD beers if we can do a trade. Yeah, I might have to take you up on that, Chris, at some point. I'm not trading as much anymore just because so much beer people send, and it's kind of expensive, obviously, trading a lot with folks. But yeah, I might take you up on that later this year. We'll definitely talk about it. But I definitely want to try some Natty Bo at some point. Like, I know Natty Bo is kind of like in the realm of a Genesee Cream Ale or a Old Style or a Narragansett Lager or a Rainier, a local regional like lager that people love in that region. And I'd love to give it a go. So might have to take you up on that later this year. Josh says should never be compared to Natty Bo. What shouldn't be compared to Natty Bo? You, Josh? I always compare you to Stone. So yeah, street sweeping from Monkish, definitely one of my favorite hazies of the year, and just something that was absolutely phenomenal. So good stuff. So we have another heavily fruited sour that adds to the list from Drecker. I'd include something from Drecker. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out their Chunk Spumoni, which was like a heavily fruited pastry sour, your favorite, Adam. But it had pistachios because Spumoni has pistachio in it. It was fantastic. But this beer, this Brains Strawberry and Lemon, this tasted like carbonated strawberry lemonade. And it wasn't too sweet. It actually had a firm tartness. It was kind of everything I wanted out of a beer like this. And I loved it. So, what else is there to say? It was a great... Drecker makes... If you're looking for like sour, like the heavily fruited sours, the pastry sours, Drecker, for somebody who gets really good distribution, at the top of the list for many folks. I don't drink as many from them. Again, I'm not drinking a ton of heavily fruited sours, although I do have a lot on hand that were sent to me mostly. But they're really good for what they are. They're just a bit pricey like most. Stephen Powers says, Fidens has that bitterness on the back end. I do. There was a couple from Fidens that I had this past year that definitely, for sure, had a good bitterness. Sam says, love the moderate dankness and bitterness of a Monkish hazy. I think that's the beautiful way to describe it, Sam. It has a moderate bitterness. It has like some kind of dank, floral, non-juicy, fruity hop tone that balances it out that I'm talking a lot of breweries struggle with. There's just, I've got so many hazies where it's just like, it's like drinking straight on fruit juice and it becomes too sweet halfway through the can. You're just like, yeah, it tastes really good, but it's too sweet. Josh says Stone should never be compared to Natty Boy. I know Stone's way better. What are you talking about, Sam? I mean, Josh. I called you Sam. Sorry, Sam. I just insulted you. So Paul says, did you have any Straubs yet? Or Strobe? Is it Strobe or Straubs? Paul, how do you say it? Straubs? I think Straubs. No, I've never had any of their stuff. I remember you going. Did you go to the brewery? I think a couple of years ago. I remember you going there. Can't remember. Pretty sure you did. Chris says, off the 10th, says, last year's unofficial beer of the year was the Origin of Darkness from Bellwoods and Collective Arts. The Dolce de Leche variant, sweet, delicious syrup, going down 11.9, fucking 11.9%, not 12, but 11.9. 11.9 makes it drink for, right, Chris? Now, that does sound delicious. We do get some of the Origins of Darkness. I don't know if we saw that one, though. If I do, I might have picked that up based on you. So Josh says, I still have that melted gelato in the fridge. We haven't gotten there yet, Josh, but the fact you still have it in the fridge, there's no way that beer doesn't explode. That beer's like a year old now. That beer's going to blow up in your fucking fridge. Hopefully it doesn't injure anyone. And Chris corrects the spelling of origin. So yeah, Drecker, Brain, Strawberry, and Lemon. If you like these styles of beer, that's shit. And when I drank it, see the highlight here, just under 7 months old. So some of these fruited sours can definitely hold up. Next, we have a beer that was sent by Billy, and this was a really cool beer that it's unfortunate not many folks in the U.S. could get. This was from Sierra Nevada, their spiced barrel-aged Bigfoot. So what this beer was their Bigfoot, which is American barley wine, aged in bourbon barrels with nutmeg, orange peel, clove, and cinnamon. Now, some of those ingredients sound like a pumpkin beer. To me, this was the most unique beer I had, period, in 2022. It was super complex, and I didn't expect to like it as well. And look at that fucking can. Just look at this. Look at this can art. Look at this can art. Crazy. Love the can art. It's a Bigfoot face made out of the ingredients. Like, it's fucking top tier. And is it behind me? It's behind me somewhere. Where the fuck is it? Right there. It's right there. It's beautiful. Anyway, if you like Bigfoot and you like spice beers, like, I don't understand how you wouldn't enjoy Sierra Nevada barrel-aged spice Bigfoot. Like, it was fucking so awesome. Probably the best beer that Billy has sent my way. I just loved it. I gave it a 4.75. The only thing kind of, I don't know why I didn't give it a 5, but there was something holding it back. I don't remember. Josh says that Collective Arts one was fantastic. So now it's the collab with Bellwoods and Collective Arts, the Dolce de Leche variant. Okay, I'll have to see if there's still some on the shelves. I might have to review that. If I have 2 people telling me it's fantastic, like, it should probably be fantastic, one would assume. Anyway, next. So that was number 17 on the list. Number 16. When you see this collaboration, you're going to clearly know why it's fucking one of my favorite hazies of the year. So this was FGC collaboration between Other Half, Monkish, and the Veil. You drink that, Josh? You drink that Veil beer yet? That fucking anniversary beer you spent like $800 on? Anyway, this was a triple IPA, Motueka, Citra, El Dorado hops. Just a fucking fantastic collaboration. Before I reviewed it, I had it on tap at the FLX location in East Bloomfield, New York, the Other Half location. To me, this was the most crazy white grape character I had in a beer without having Nelson in it, which is just unheard of for me. One of the best, if not the best, like triple IPA I had in 2022. And look at that smile. Look at that. I'm so happy. I didn't even drink it yet. I'm so happy. Okay, we have from Christopher, my top 3 beers of 2022 were Mexa Coffee Cake from, I don't even want to pronounce that, Morslotu, and Bison in the Barrel Room by Puhala. I didn't drink any beers from them last year, but they already have 1 5 out of 5 that'll definitely be on the list later this year. But Puhala from Estonia, we get them here in the U.S. Check them out, fantastic. And then at the top, Strudelstraut by Puhala. So 2 beers in the top 3 from Puhala. Let's see. We got Josh says, nope, too much wax. You sure about that? You sure about that, Josh? Josh, you sure about that? I don't think so. Why am I whispering? ASMR. Adam says, do you get any craft beers from Canada your way, Joe, apart from Labatt Blue? Oh, yeah, we're actually, so I don't know if Chris knows this or anybody up there, any of my beer tubing friends, but we are now starting to see Bellwood stuff and not just like their Jelly King and a couple other things. Starting to see some of their hop forward beers. Unfortunately, when they show up, they're like 3 months old, but we're starting to get more Bellwood stuff. We obviously get stuff from Du DCL. We get stuff from Collective Arts. There's a couple other breweries too. Off the top of my head, I really can't think right now. But yeah, we get a handful of different breweries from Canada, but we don't get like a lot of the cool hyped stuff. So it is what it is. Chris says, I'm taking off, bud. Congrats again. Miss you. Hope to see you soon for some delicious chalet chicken, some fantastic craft beer. All the love. I need that chalet sauce. I need it. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Appreciate the sticker and everything else, dude. Thank you very much. And we will hang out at some point. Paul says Canada doesn't make craft beer anymore. Their currency can't support it. That's, you know how they support it? By charging people like $60 for a case of macro beer. That's how they support it. Adam says, I picked up Puhala's new Banoffee banger. This nice. I just picked up a cherry goza from them called like Cherry Garden or something that I'm going to review. It's the first non like barrel aged Baltic Porter barrel aged beer I've had from them. So I'll be curious to see how it was. It was a 12-ounce can, or I think it was 11.2 fluid ounce can. And I believe it was like $7. So it better fucking do multiple things for me other than just be good. He says, do you get Torchlight Brewing from BC? We do not. We don't get any beers from British Columbia. Pretty sure. Paul says Puhala is the best new brewing company for me and has been since 2019 for me so far. Everything I've had from them has been phenomenal. They and some of their beers, considering they're imported from Estonia, are fucking not that expensive either. Like outside, I said $7 for that goes, which is crazy, but like I paid $7.99 for a 12 fluid ounce bottle or 11.2 fluid ounce bottle of like a barrel aged Baltic porter that was like 12%. Like it's fucking crazy how cheap it is. So anyway, this FGZ, fantastic. Definitely one of my favorite beers of the year. Next, shout out to my good friend Bud again. What's up, everyone? This is from North Park and Magnify. This is I like the one that says some pulp. The fact that the logo right here, and I think it's behind me as well, right up here, is supposed to be Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano in hop form, talking about he likes the orange juice that says some pulp, is fucking insane. Just love that. But this beer to me was on another level because mostly this was so I don't know how many out there, Paul, Adam, or whatever. This was the most orange tasting beer I've ever had that actually did not have anything but hops in it. It tasted like orange juice, but like bitter orange juice. And it was absolutely amazing. I came out of left field. I know North Park does good stuff, but it tasted like hoppy orange juice. It was fucking absurd. It was absolutely phenomenal, and why it makes my top list. Adam says Cocoa Banger is one you need to look out for. So I need to also look out for that, Adam, because I have not had Cocoa Banger. Paul says he will look out for it. And then Adam says, not a fan of Puhala sours or pales. They're always disappointing in comparison to dark and malty. Well, thanks for ruining the fucking fun, Adam. I'm sure that Cherry Garden is going to be $7.29 of just pure garbage. I know you were here to lighten up the mood, and I appreciate it. Fucking Christ. Anyway, this was number 15 on the list. Next, we have another heavily fruited sour that wasn't heavily fruited. So if you notice a trend here, most of these heavily fruited sours, smoothie sours making my list, they're not heavily fruited. And this is another one. This was from Combination again. It's a drippy popsicle orange creamsicle. So this is basically an orange creamsicle sour, 5.5%. They say orange, vanilla, and marshmallow. It wasn't super sweet. It tasted like if you've ever had a real fruit bar, like, you know, they have the real fruit bars, the frozen ones that are actually made with real fruit as opposed to fake stuff. It tasted like if there was a real fruit bar that was an orange creamsicle in beer form. Absolutely fantastic. It had a nice solid tartness for it, and it was the best orange creamsicle beer I had. Maybe a little less acidity, but again, if it tastes more like real orange, you're going to get a more acidic feel. But like outside of that, really good. Yeah, dude. That was like what in the last one, Paul? I like the one that says some pulp. That was when I started getting to the fucking levels of like the hockey flow, so to speak. So he says, I never thought I would ever say it, but my top 3 beers from last year were all lagers. I guess I'm a crispy people now. What 3 beers were those? I'd love to know. Paul says, whoa, needed a haircut in that one. Total Joe Dirt going out. And then he says, not in the current video. Yeah, it's the last one, right, Paul? It's this one, the North Park. Fucking, what's up? Look at my fucking flow. That thing is fantastic. As you go through the video, like you see it up here, it's fucking horrible. I just gave up. I was like, I'm not going to just trim my hair anymore. I don't fucking care. So, all right, go back to the drippy popsicle. Not much more to say about it. It's an orange creamsicle in beer form, not too sweet, firmly sour. Pretty much what I want out of a beer. And I got a 4. I think I gave it a 4.75 as well. Yep. So next is a local beer, one of the few local beers that has made it on my channel. And as you can see, I reviewed it with the FLX boys. This is from Big Ditch out of Buffalo. This was a double barrel Topaz. So this was an imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels and maple syrup bourbon barrels, then blended with maple syrup. So the easiest way to describe this beer and why it made my top list was, and I wrote down the quote. I said it's slightly carbonated, super thick maple syrup that's not crazy sweet. And as somebody who loves maple syrup, like it was fantastic. Gave it a 4.75. We all gave it a 4.75. It's the best big dish beer I've ever had, and probably one of the best Western New York beers I've had in a long time. It was $8 per bottle as well, which nowadays with the crazy price points, that doesn't seem too bad. $8 for a 12 fluid ounce bottle for something that's 10.1% aged in bourbon and maple syrup bourbon barrels, and then with maple syrup in it. And plus, you're supporting local. It's not like you're supporting some big, crazy brewery. Next, this is number 12 on the list, and it comes from Fidens. We had, I think it was, who mentioned the Fidens earlier? Don't remember. Stephen Powers said Fidens has the bitterness on the back end. Well, this Impulse, and I'm in the minority here because I've had a lot of friends that have had Impulse. It's just a 7.5% IPA that is brewed with Galaxy, Citra, and Motueka. It is the best Fidens beer I've had in the past year. I haven't had a lot of Fidens beers. I've had about 15, 20 of them. But that beer was perfect for 7.5%. It had a decent bitterness to kind of not be over the top. And it just hit me in a different way. And they just re-released that beer, I think, in the last month. So if you want to check out a Fidens beer that's not a super crazy triple or double, 7.5%, get it as soon as possible. Assuming you can get your hands on Fidens, like Josh. Paul says, still no crazy fruit and sours here to speak in my area. COVID did bring a few new brews into certain distros, but most are still on date and triple to cost of everything. Yeah, I mean, COVID had basically really helped distribution because a lot of places started self-distribution and whatnot. But like, I don't know. I feel like the price points are fucking crazy for some. Paul says, if anything, we are more starved for choice than pre-COVID. That's crazy. That not here. It's fucking absurd. It's absurd how many beers we have here. Like I could walk in my local bottle, any of my local bottle shops, and I'd probably take me $200-$300 to buy a single bottle or can of everything that showed up each week. It's insane. Josh says, I'm excited to see where on the list Joe puts a side project in Shroom. Wait for it. Wait for it, Josh. You'll be waiting a long time, but wait for it. Adam says, I'm contemplating picking up Central Waters Brewing Maple BA beer, but it's expensive. From what I've had from Central Waters, Adam, they make some really fantastic barrel-aged beers. I haven't had the maple one at all, but they make really good beers. How much are we talking for is it one of the 12 fluid ounce 355s? I'd like to know what the price point is because they're not crazy expensive here. Paul says, many new breweries have opened. However, most are sub-average at best. Yeah, there's a lot of breweries that open that are just okay. It's definitely here as well. Rainier Prairie says, drinking Equilibrium Shaved Kangaroo Triple IPA. Nice. Never heard about that one. And hopefully, I'm glad it's not oxidized. Fuck me, EQ. Paul says, I have Fidens in the fridge, saving for me up with Harry and Peter in a couple weeks unless someone get COVID again. What do you have in the fridge, Adam? Be curious. Hopefully they don't get COVID again. Paul says, Central Waters times had a high price at times here as well. Yeah. They're not as crazy as they used to be, but they were pretty good. But I mean, their barrel-aged beers are pretty fucking fantastic. So maybe not for Paul. You know, Paul, everything needs to be fucking motor oil and 18%. So, you know, session strength, as we say. So anyway, go pick up Impulse from Fidens if you can get your hands on it. I'd be curious to know what you think. Next, we have a Revolution beer. So this is a beer that was sent to me by Clayton, a viewer of the channel, although I haven't seen him around as often recently. So this beer, and this is right probably in Adam, Paul's wheelhouse. This was an American barley wine aged in cognac barrels from Revolution. 12.4%. When he sent it to me, it was a year and a half old. I mean, you already won me over with. They say American barley wine. It wasn't a fucking American barley wine. It was in English, or at that point, 18 months in the can. In addition to the time in the barrel, it definitely didn't have a lot of hop bitterness left over. But in cognac barrels, like cognac barrels to me are underrated when it comes to barrel aging. I love anything cognac barreled. So, yeah, that beer to me was one of the best barrel-aged beers I had in 2022. I gave it a 4.8 out of 5. And Revolution, one of the best. Look at me, I'm screaming there. Look at me, I'm screaming. Let's smile. One of the best barrel programs in the U.S. Revolution. I also had their Maple Death or Death, however you want to pronounce it. Really good. Older bottle. Older can. I gave it a 4.65, but not as good as this Mineshaft Gap. It was just exactly what I want out of a barrel-aged barley wine. And Josh, I have had, I think, one or two first date. Let me see here. I had their coffee stout that Ridge sent me. Let me see. It's first date, right? Let me check. First date brewing. I think I just had their coffee stout, maybe. Yeah, I had their Black Lotus coffee stout. Really good. Never had anything hop forward from them, though, Josh. Paul says, won't buy Equilibrium. Local place found $36 for 16-ounce pure stout. Paul, when the pandemic just started back in like early 2020, but I'd say more towards the fall of 2020, Equilibrium 4-packs of 16-ounce cans for like a 8% double IPA, $32 for a 4-pack. $8 a can. Don't think so. I bought a couple of their stuff in the past year or so because it's been more in like the $5 a can range. I don't know who's buying like a beer like that. I don't give a shit if 16 ounce. It's one of those 500 milliliters, right? 60.9. I don't care what kind of barrels are going on. I don't give a shit what kind of adjuncts are in there. That $36 is absurd. It's fucking absurd. He also says when it says English barley wine, buy it, drink it like an American one. It is so when it says it, but yeah. So, but on the flip side though, Paul, with that Mineshaft Gap, it said American, drank like an English, and that's when you get the winter chicken dinners because it's like, oh shit, I'm expecting like this hoppy kind of not robust malt character, and it's the exact opposite. One Von Trapp show. Oh yeah, so the Smoke Dark Lager from them, I'm gonna have to pick that up then if they release that again because I've heard good things about that for sure. The Von Trapp. And the Cool Ship Black Lager from OEC. So I need to review a couple OEC beers. I've had a couple from them, but I've never reviewed it. They do some with the open fermentation, everything. Pretty cool. And then he says, First State Brewing, Monolithic Memories. Monolithic Memories. And that was so what was the First State beer? Broad, was it what kind of lager? Because you said it was a lager. Josh says, I need more Ghost in the Machine. I need to try Ghost in the Machine. Probably, I didn't want to call it a bucket beer, but it kind of is because I want to try it. But I've never went out of my way to like acquire it, like trade with somebody. So if you ever get your hands on any, Josh, I'm more than game to do a small little trade. Send me some Natty Bow, some Ghost in the Machine, some First State, and I'll send you a couple local offerings here that I'm sure you can get. Paul says that's a winner for sure. Yeah, that's definitely a winner. So this beer right here, like, damn, I just need more Revolution in my life. So this beer right here, this is from Finback. So now we're entering the top 10. Paul, there's no way you would ever say this beer is thin. You probably would just to troll, but this was from Finback. It was their Marshmallow Drip Pastry Stout. Imperial Stout, marshmallows, coffee, vanilla beans, and peanut butter, 14.2%. Here's the problem with this beer. The problem with this beer is that it drank like it was like 9 or 10%, but it had like the body of a 14%, but you didn't get any booze. And this, if you look at the adjunct list here, marshmallows, coffee, vanilla beans, peanut butter, I got mostly chocolate. Like this drank like rich chocolate, and there's no chocolate. It all came from the malts. And to me, it came out of left field. I love what Finback does. Their stout game can be a little hit or miss. I've had some of their barrel-aged stouts. I've had some of their regular stouts. I've had some pastry. This was a fucking win. It was absolutely dynamite. I need more of Finback in my life. There's only one brewery one bottle shop that pretty much gets their stuff here. One Stop Brew Shop in Greece, New York, which is just outside of Rochester. We don't get them here. Pisses me off. I love their stuff, and that this beer was close to a 5, not quite a 5, 4.8, but holy fuck, was it great. Rick says, love those OEC lagers. Yeah, so for me, I've enjoyed them for sure. And I just love the uniqueness to them for the open fermentation. They almost have that like, kind of like, almost like, I won't say barnyard-esque, but like just because of the open fermentation, you get unique characters that you don't typically get in regular lagers. Josh says, I can get it shipped to my house from Paris. I know, you son of a bitch. He said, is that a Raiders shirt? Yeah. What, the Nike football one? The Nike football one is not. It's just a Nike football. You don't see the Nike logo. But yeah, it has the same colors as the Raiders, right? Totally. Sam says, I want all the American regional macros, all the beers you guys can get your hands on easily in your local areas, even if they're shite, which most probably are. I want them all. That's kind of where I am right now. Sam, like, I think regional, just like, I'm a big proponent of regional, like, macro beers that everybody just loves, but like, you're never going to go nuts over them to anybody. Like when you talk beer, but you're just like, oh, Natty Boat, Jenny Cream Ale, Rainier, Narragansett Lager. There's just so many where it's like, everybody knows of this beer and it's solid beer for what it is, but they never say it. I want those beers. I want, like, here, if you came here, I'd be like, go get Big Dish Hayburner. Is Hayburner as an American IPA? They don't even call it a hazy, but it's basically a hazy IPA, but it's an American IPA, 7.2%. You can walk. I could right now go to my local gas station or corner store that's like a half mile down the street, and I could go there, walk there, and they would have fresh Hayburner, less than a month old, in their fucking cooler. It's $10.99 a six pack of 12 fluid ounce cans. It's amazing. I could get that locally at a fucking corner store or a gas station. Like, I want those breweries. Like, I want your local shelfy IPAs. It was great that Rick sent me like the New England Brewing Company. I just reviewed and posted it yesterday. The Super Nod IPA. It's a 5.8% all mosaic hazy IPA, like old school, like New England, Vermont style. That beer's $10.99 six pack, he said, in his neck of the woods. You can get it everywhere. Yeah, tell me about those fucking beers where I can spend less than $2 a can, get my fill of hops without it being fucking super juicy and like over the top with just like fruit character that actually has beer properties. I want those beers. I want those beers. I want them. I want them all. Broad says, honorable mention, Crooked Stave, New Zealand style Pilsner. First date was a Czech dark. Oh, fucking Christ. Tugging out my heartstrings, and my heart's not even 100% tugging on them. He says, gotta beat them off with a stick these days. Bring back the six pack. Yeah. Here's the thing, too. And I know I'm going to, Paul, do not even comment, Paul. I know what you're going to say. But for me, when you're talking about like this beer that's up on my screen right now, this Finback marshmallow drip, right? It's a 14.2% Imperial Stout with 4 different adjuncts. I need that in like a 7.5 ounce can. Those 7.5 ounce cans, hey, give me 7. I'll drink the entire 7.5 ounce can. But that can right there would have been better off shared with like 2 other people. Or if you're Paul, you take it to dome piece yourself. But I'm not in a personal space where I can just down a 14.2% Imperial Stout with a bunch of adjuncts in a 16 ounce can. It's just too much. And even if I could, like as a physical thing, like I didn't have any issues, that's still ridiculous. That's like the equivalent of drinking. If you had it in a 5 ounce can, or sorry, think about a 12 ounce can of a 5% beer. That right there, 100% is like drinking 3.5 to 4 regular beers at a single time. That's fucking insane. Like, it's insane. Paul says, never had a Finback brew. I'd love to try. Yeah, I wish I could get them much easier, easier than what is currently available. Burning Beer says, you do realize we have over 9,000 macros in the U.S. Yeah, we do have a shit ton of macros, and macros that have consumed smaller breweries for sure. There's a lot of macros, and then you have like Sierra Nevada and Boston, Sammy Adams on that. Even though they're not technically macro beers, they kind of are. Sam says, New Zealand hop pilsners are brilliant. Yeah, I do enjoy them. Broad says, yep. Sam says, man, I can't wait to travel the States. Sam, when you get here, you don't even know what's fucking happening. You have no idea price point, how you can go nuts. Adam says, yeah, it's one of the big bottles of Central Waters. It's about 45 euros. There's that pounds. Regardless, the translation of that is probably like $50 American. Yeah, I don't think so. That's not worth it. Sorry, Adam. It's not going to be that good. It's just not. Sam only drinks Anchorage stouts. Yeah, he spends $100 a bottle. Christopher Nutt says UK prices of some US stouts are silly. They fucking 100% are. I see. It depends on the beer. Like, I think Adam said like Fiden's beers were like $10 to $12 for a can, and that's pricey. But when they make distro at some of these places, they're like $7, $8 American. So and I'm talking Fiden's is like 4 hours from my house, and they show up here and they're like $7, $8 a can. So, you're traveling across the pond, and you guys are actually importing them. So I get it. I get it to some degree, but some places price gouge. Sam said in an Acreage Session IPA the other day, dude, it was really, really good. It's not a fucking barrel-aged stout, so it's trash. Sorry, Sam. Anchorage doesn't make good non-barrel-aged stouts or barrel-aged barley wines or old ales. Crazy. Rick says, yes, sir, talking about the New England Brewing Company. And then Sam says, I don't normally enjoy session IPAs, steer away from them, but this is great. Really punch, aroma, and flavor with solid backbone. The thing with session IPAs is I don't get the point of them only because just make a good pale ale. Just make a good pale ale. He did correct himself and said punchy. Understood. Your Australian slang actually just fucking incorrectly typed it. So for any of we'll talk about Canadians watching, Chris already left, but number 9 on my list comes from Fifth Frame Brewing Company. So Fifth Frame Brewing Company is a brewery and coffee roaster in Rochester, New York. And they make a lot of good lagers, hazy beer, but then they do a bunch of pastry shit. Some of it's crazy. This one, let me just see if I can fast forward and show you. Let's see if I show you the look of this. Look at this beer. That's straight on dark brown. It looks like muddy, like super muddy water. This was a imperial stout brewed with espresso beans and chocolate cake batter. If you can't get any more hipster-esque and just over the top in terms of craft beer, chocolate cake batter. It tasted like a coffee crisp, is why I referenced the Canadian folk. If anybody out there in Canada or knows of a coffee crisp, it is basically a candy bar with real coffee in it and chocolate. That's what this beer was. Maybe a bit too sweet to enjoy the entire 16-ounce can, but it was fucking spectacular. The body and mouthfeel were like motor oil. No way, Paul, you say that's thin because it didn't even seem real. But a fantastic beer. And it was called Clawfoot Bathtub Espresso Mousse Cake. Pretty crazy name. Josh from Last Beer says, yeah, Sam, that doesn't care. And then he corrected it. That doesn't count. Yeah, it doesn't count, Sam. What the fuck talking about? Craig says, you're still going? Shit. Yeah, Craig, you have watched live streams. You've been in live streams with me. I talk a lot. Too much. And these live streams are a lot of fun. So get fucked, nerd. Love you, Craig. Craig, if you're around later, someone's doing a live. I'm pretty sure Josh said he's doing a live show at 8. So I don't know if you're joining there. I don't know if anyone's going to do a after show here, but yeah. Brad says, anybody have any thoughts on Allagash's Hop Reach IPA? So I was going to pick that up for Shelfie Beer Reviews for this month, and the place I went to didn't have it. I've never had it, but I'm very curious as well because I haven't had too many hop forward beers from Allagash. I had their black IPA, which wasn't bad recently, but I don't know about Hop Reach. I don't understand. I understand their hop forward game. Yeah, the head on that looks like a chocolate cake batter. It does. It's fucking insane. Sam says it's 7 a.m. here, and I was drunk this time yesterday. No wonder I crashed at lunchtime. I'll be back on it again soon. Yeah, you will. Fucking around, Sam. Get some food and get back at it. And then Paul says, I'm back, and yes, 15%, 750s all day long. Sons! Fucking Paul, you're a maniac. I'm done with you. Anyway, so I gave this beer a 4.8. It outside of the sweetness, fucking amazing beer. So now, Paul, we got a beer in your neck of the woods. This is where Paul complains that I never saw that in my neck of the woods. So this is from Pizza Boy. All right, back right now. And this is their Bourbon Barrel Sunny Side Up Blend 2. So what this is an imperial stout brewed with coffee, aged in bourbon barrels. They use a blend of both Pappy Van Winkle and Heaven Hill barrels. This one was sent to me or given to me in person by a viewer of the channel, Justin. And I haven't had many Pizza Boy beers. I've only had a handful. And I've had the regular Sunny Side Up, really good coffee stout. And this shit, next level deliciousness. And I couldn't thank Justin enough for this. And here's the craziest thing about this beer. This beer, when I had it, was 9 months of age already in it. So taking into account that it was already in the barrels, I think, for a year. And then on top of that, it was in the can for 9 months. So you're talking about an almost 2-year-old aged beer. And the coffee was still super intense. Didn't turn into green pepper. Very vibrant. Just an amazing beer. And yeah, best Pizza Boy beer I've ever had. The only thing that stopped it from a 5 out of 5 is the mouthfeel wasn't spot on. The body, perfect. Mouthfeel, a little bit too crisp and too carbonated for something that is kind of that realm for me. So it was amazing, but not great. Craig says, I'm around. Sweet, Craig. Or even Craig, if you want to go live after this, do an after show. I'll probably be done by 6, I would imagine, at the very latest. So what's that, 11 your time? If you guys finally did the daylight saving, right? So, and then maybe we hop over to Josh's after. I don't know. I'm down. I'm around for most of the night, just chilling. It's rare I do this, so if people want to hang out, I'm here for it. I'm just going to shut down my live stuff because I've already done the live review with them this. So Rod says, what up, Rod? How's it going? Christopher Nutton says the double IPAs are oddly great prices, and you get fines for £9. We'll have to pay that for a couple. Oh, fucking, that's a great deal then. If you're talking about importing fines at like around $10-11 US, like all day, because that's not far off from what we pay for them for single cans. Josh says, haven't had Pizza Boy in forever. My buddy lives near there. And then Paul says, another I've never saw. And he meant another one, of course. Angie says, I have a question. I want to try the citrusy, milky beers that taste like creamsicles. And I thought that was a hazy IPA, but none of the hazy IPAs were like that. No, so there's a bunch of different styles, Angie. They do have milkshake IPAs that do have like real fruit in them, lactose or vanilla, and then they have an IPA base. What you're looking for, and what we talked about before, is you're looking for smoothie-style sours or pastry sours. So what those beers are is they basically, the breweries will brew like a kettle sour most of the time. And then post-fermentation, they blend them with fruit puree and other adjuncts like vanilla or chocolate or whatever. Those are the ones you're looking for that are like, you can get orange creamsicle ones, for example. They make all kinds of crazy ones. So you want smoothie style sour ale, heavily fruited style sour ale, or a pastry sour. That's kind of what you're probably looking for in that realm. So when you go to the store, see if there's a smoothie style or a pastry sour. That'd probably be more of what you're looking for. Although some of the hazy IPAs, like the aforementioned Fidens, they can have that milky kind of hazy look to them, and then the body is bigger, so they are creamy. They just don't taste like that. Christopher says, I really need a can of Fidens, Vitamin C Collab, Ducks, and Axis. There's so many fucking beers that I'm not as entrenched as in knowing about all the new releases and stuff, but there's so many breweries and so many collabs, I just lose track at this point. Paul says, just have 5 beans from 6 Point from 2018. It was fantastic. But I have a can of that in the cellar, Paul. I think that or the 4 beans. I'm sure. Dude, 6 Point is one of those breweries that used to make fantastic beer. And I just only have had a couple things from them in the past 5 years. I used to love their stuff. Sam says, I reckon if Alex did a list like this, it only consists of 22 house lagers and definitely not triple fruited sours or hazy IPAs. For sure, there would not be a single creamy beer on the fucking list. And then to follow that up, Craig says 22 creamy beers. Yeah, all fucking creamy beers. All 100s, all fantastic. And that's what I appreciate about you. I appreciate you guys. You're all a trip, by the way, every single one of you. Paul says, hitting Grand Rapids for training at the end of May, beer run. Dude, yes. I think Wax Wings is in the area, Paul. Obviously, Founders is there. Founders does a lot of Untappd stuff that doesn't get outside the state that you might want to check out. I think that'd be fun. Josh says, Vale did a collab with Fidens, a vegan Ferrari, sold out online at release time. Oh, that sucks. I find it, I don't say I find it weird, but so many of those breweries do like, hey, what's your like flagship beer? Oh, ours is Ferrari. And they'll go, oh, ours is vegan. We'll do vegan Ferrari. Okay. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I would love to try it though. And I'm sure you would as well, Josh. And then Broad says, Dewey Beer Company imprint are good for soothing. Yeah, so perfect. Yep, 100%. This comment right here. Angie, Imprint and Dewey. Imprint makes the schmoojie line. I've reviewed a couple on the channel. I will tell you right now, most of them don't taste like beer. They really don't. Some of the Deweys, they do the secret machines. They're pretty good as well. But look for the Imprint and the Dewey, Angie. That would definitely be what you're looking for, 100%. So anyway, go back to this Pizza Boy 4.8. Fucking fantastic beer. My 8th favorite beer of this year. Next, we have one that I'm assuming nobody's talking about other than me, because until I reviewed this beer, I had no fucking idea that this beer existed. This is from Roundabout Brewery in Pittsburgh, PA. It's their Heine's Good Cheer. It's a barrel-aged blended old ale. They use Templeton rye and Willet barrels. It was fucking phenomenal. I never heard about this brewery until a viewer of the channel, Dan, sent it my way. Now I want to try more, but I still have not seen anything. I don't even see anybody talking about the Roundabout Brewery at all. I have no idea at all about them. So I'm going to have to make a trip at some point to Pittsburgh, because this beer just blew me away. It's not surprising because I love English barley wines, old ales. And the nose on this was 100% a 5 out of 5. No questions asked. The taste was a little bit of a letdown, but still amazing. And it was just fantastic. They're on my radar. The malt character tasted like someone blended Werther's Originals, Heath, and a Score chocolate bar altogether. The malt was just fucking top tier. I loved it. So Roundabout is a brewery that I will be seeking out going forward. A Waxwing are beautiful, very bohemian. I love you, Craig. Craig, are you hammered at all? I saw you were you drinking yesterday. Josh says 4 Score makes good sours. Yeah, 4 Scores in Paul, 4 Scores not far. Don't you go to what you call it every year? Gettysburg? Aren't they in Gettysburg? They're like outside of that? Pretty sure they are. Anyway. Chris says, I know you review some Dew beers. Do you get much distro in New York? Local bar shops here in Maryland and Eastern gets a ton of stuff almost weekly. We get a drop of their stuff like every month now. It's usually secret machines, but we do get some of like their lagers that they've thrown out, some of their hazies, some of their darker beers as well. But yeah, we definitely get some of their stuff. Problem with a lot of these breweries, like the Deweys and the Imprints, they're all substantially more expensive than local stuff. So like an Imprint Schmoogie, like the cheapest I've seen one has been like $8.99 for a single can. I mean, most of the places here locally charge $24 4 packs. So it's like $6-7 a can. So it's hard to pay an extra $2 or $3 per can for an Imprint beer when there's local places doing very similar stuff. But I try to review their stuff once in a while. It's been a while since I bought a Dewey beer though. Paul says, I'll join you for a Pittsburgh brew trip later. Yeah, maybe later on this year, Paul. I don't know. I was gonna last year head up Pittsburgh. Roger Waters from Pink Floyd was doing a concert there. My dad wanted to check it out. We were gonna go, but something came up like a couple weeks beforehand, so we ended up not getting tickets. But I was gonna go to like 3 or 4 breweries the day before, and then we are gonna go to the concert the next day. But I want to get down there at some point. Definitely, I just want to go there and brewery hop mostly. It'd be fun. RAR, yeah, RAR. I only say RAR Brewing. Yep. I've had a couple from them. Really good. Paul says 4 Score is very good. Their Botu series was expensive, but great. $8. Yikes. Yeah, dude. The here in Buffalo, I don't know how it is outside of I can't speak to anybody else, but when the smoothie, heavily fruited pastry sours hit the market here from some more hype breweries or like well-known, like your Imprints, your Deweys, Energy City, 450 North, breweries like that, the cheapest you'll see them is like $8 a can. It's like the cheapest you'll see them. And then local places here, like Mortalis and Froth, for example, they will charge, $6 a can, say. It's hard to pay. You're already paying $6 for what is essentially carbonated fruit puree with like a slightly sour base. So to pay $8 or $9 for them, it's tough, especially when vast majority of them are very sweet and I don't even want to drink the entire can. It's a little bit ridiculous. Craig says, I dropped a few pounds of hair today, not hammered yet. Oh, did you shave your head? Holy shit, that's crazy. I don't know if I want to be on a live stream with you now, Craig, if your head shaved. That's not what we're here for. Josh says, yeah, I got a mixed 4-pack for $27 of their Big League Brew Fruity Sours. Now, that's not that much of a premium. Most places are like $25 4-pack, so you're paying an extra 50 to 75 cents per can. You're not paying an extra $3. So I would have definitely tried that from 4 Score 100%. Sam says, I feel cities like Pittsburgh would have cool underrated beer scenes. They do. Pittsburgh is definitely an underrated beer city just based on what I've had from them. Like they're kind of like Buffalo in terms of size, a little bit bigger, but they have so many like good breweries. I'm not saying we don't have a lot of good breweries here in Buffalo. I'm just saying like more established, well-known because they've been doing it a little bit longer. Angie says, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate everybody chiming in for Angie, especially good tip on the Imprint and the Dewey stuff because she's definitely in the Maryland area. And like, I'd assume that'll get to local bottle shops for her. Adam says Energy City Mortalis drafts become more and more common in the UK, which is cool to see. But how much is like a draft pour of their stuff? You probably get like 8 ounces and it's probably like 10 pounds or something crazy. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how much it's worth it. So anyway, the Roundabout, need to try more. This beer was awesome. 4.8 out of 17. 4.8 out of 5. Next, we're entering the top 5 soon. We're number 6. So we have another heavily fruited sour here. But it's not a heavily fruited sour. So I'm going to say this, and Angie, this is another one that I say look out for. But anybody who wants to have a heavily fruited sour without the actual crazy, like thick, syrupy body you get with them that's just fruit puree, check out Toppling Goliath's Fandango series. I've had both the strawberry shortcake and the berry patch. And when you see me pour it and you see the look of this, look how dark this is. Okay. This beer is essentially black on camera, like a dark purple. The head's like a lighter purple. The beauty about this is when I drink it down, it doesn't have all the pectin and fruit puree on the glass because they actually brew with the fruits, I'm pretty sure, as opposed to mixing them post-fermentation with fruit puree. So they're brewing with the fruit puree as opposed to just actually blending it with it. And what it makes up for in lack of body, which is actually a good thing for me, is the flavor is still astounding. Plus, both of the beers I had from them were, I had a nice firm tartness. The problem with these beers is, again, 5.3% right here, highlighted, 5.3%. And I paid like $7 for that can. That's the only problem with these beers. I know, and you can say they're expensive, blah, 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 whatever. At the end of the day, it's hard to pay $7 for a beer that's 5.3%. I don't care how good it is. It just is, percentage-wise, right? You can get some crazy barrel-aged imperial stouts for not far off that price. I understand that fruit is expensive, especially puree. A lot of these breweries use it. I get it. It's just hard. But if you're looking for something that isn't like some people will think disgusting and smoothie-like, but still has like an intense fruit flavor and is still firmly tart, these Fandango beers from Top and Goliath are good. And I know they've released a handful of them. I had this. I had their strawberry shortcake, and they were delicious. Only reason I didn't give them a perfect score, a little sweet. Little sweet. It happens. A little sweet. So tone down the sweetness. Shit's through the roof. But yeah, check out the Top and Goliath Fandango series. This would be another one, Angie. If you see any of these on the shelf, grab one if you don't mind paying the price. Because while they might not be like crazy smoothie, they are really fruity and just like delicious tasting. So, all right, let's see. Josh says, Human Robot makes great stuff. Milk tubes all day. Yeah, the milk tube pours are getting more popular, Josh. Human Robot, definitely one of the best lager producers in the U.S. right now. Wish your stuff was a little bit easier to get and maybe a little less expensive, but definitely very good. Craig says, I'm up for beer reviewing show when you are done. No shit shows, LOL. Start one up, Craig. Beer reviewing show. We're reviewing beer and just chilling. Just chilling. Like Magellan. Paul says, heading to work. Cheers. Thanks, Paul, for stopping by. As always, good sir. We'll have to catch up on a live stream at some point. I need to do these, like I said, more frequently, but I appreciate you hanging out, brother. And then Broad says, at Angie, you might also, Burley Oak Brewing. The Dream series is fantastic. Some are better than others. The Apple Pie Dream was amazing. I'm not normally a fan of the style. Yeah, I've had like a half dozen of them, and he is right. There are a couple that I loved and a couple that were just good. My favorite was they did a blackberry one, and I love blackberries. Holy shit, was that good. But Apple Pie one sounds delicious. So Suarez. So here's want to hear something crazy, Josh? I still haven't had a beer from Suarez. They just don't get distro to where I am at all. Like, occasionally you'll see somebody have their beers on draft, but we don't get any packaged beer from them, period. All right, we're entering the top 5, and then I'm going to shut this down. Hopefully I'm done by 6 at the latest. I said, 5:30. It's always longer than it says. So this beer, another beer reviewed with the, I'm screaming in this one. I reviewed with the FLX boys. This is from the brewery. So the brewery used to be, to me, like they're like one of the originators of like the pastry, huge imperial beers. Going back to their white chocolates and Black Tuesdays and everything. So this year I had the chance to not only review this one, which was basically a what's up, everybody? I don't know what I'm doing here. A barrel-aged imperial Neapolitan stout. So this beer was 15.3%. It's a blended bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout brewed with strawberries, cacao nibs, and Madagascar vanilla beans. And it was essentially exactly what they were going for. It was a bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout that had Neapolitan flavors. They did it extremely well. I gave it a 4.9. Don't know why I didn't give it a 5, but it was fantastic. I also had white chocolate for the first time this year from them. And their white chocolate, to me, was delicious. Not as good as this beer, though. White chocolate was delicious. Not as good as this beer. But this everybody here pretty much gave it a 4.7 or higher. I think Dan, I want to say Dan gave it a 5. Mike gave it a 4.72, 4.75, something like that, and I gave it a 4.9. But this was sent to me by Jesse, viewer of the channel from California. He just sent me another beer mail. I'm posting unboxing this week, but he sent me some good California goodness that I can't wait to get into. But this was like one of the best beers I had this year, hands down. And I'm glad I shared it with those guys. is fantastic. Sam says, Suarez has always been on my list. We've never seen them here, though. Give it like 6 months and you'll have like a tap takeover of 700 beers from them, Sam. You fucker. And he says, that Schilling that Bumpy speaks of sounds off. Yeah, so I've reviewed a handful of Schilling beers as well. Schilling, Human Robot, definitely up there. And Angie and Ryan, who are in Maryland, Landmade is another brewery. I don't know if you've seen them yet, Josh. Landmade. They're out of Maryland, Poolesville, Maryland. And I reviewed 2 of their beers over the past couple of weeks. Julie and Ewing, they're both Czech lagers. One was a pale, one was a dark, and they're in the Schilling realm for me. Human Robot up there. And here goes fucking Josh. Chocolate Rain by the Brewery, 21% was fantastic. And he took that entire beer to the dome piece, didn't you? You fucker. And it says I get a lot of Schilling too. Yeah, we get so much Schilling now. It's tough. So here's a question for you guys. And this would be a little bit different because like Sam and Craig and some of the UK guys, Christopher, you guys are used to paying a little bit more. But Josh, what do you typically pay for a 4-pack of like a Schilling? So let's say Schilling has a 5% Czech dark lager. Here shows up, it's like $17, $18 a 4-pack. Sometimes 15 or 16, typically 17, 18. Isn't that tough to pay, which is essentially $4 to $4.50 a can for something that's 5%? There's a Czech dark lager. I feel like they shouldn't be $4 to $5 a can. It's my own personal preference. So that was number 5 on the list. And number 6 is everybody's favorite. I know Josh is going to go nuts over this, but I had to include it. This was the best pumpkin beer I ever had. It was a beer I reviewed last year. It's from Prairie Artisan Ales. They're Basic Rebecca. So this is a barrel-aged imperial pumpkin stout, 13.4%, brewed with pumpkin, cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, coriander, clove, and caraway, then aged in bourbon barrels. My 2 favorite pumpkin beers, probably period, is this beer and the base beer called Basic Becky. I know some folks didn't enjoy this beer more so than the base. Basic Becky, a lot of people enjoyed. They're delicious. They're expensive. I think this bottle was like $13.99 a bottle, but it's worth it, especially if you like pumpkin beers. This is the only pumpkin beer on the list, and it was fucking totally worth it. So you $14, $15, which is crazy. You know why, Josh? I check Schilling's website out and what people pay right from the brewery, and most of their beers are like $14, $15 a 4-pack right from the brewery. So if you're paying that same in distro, it's crazy they're not upping their margin so everyone can make money. That's crazy to me. Adam says, I have seen Suarez once here, but it was traders, not legit import. Okay, that makes sense. And then Broad says, I saw that Landmade Ewing for $14.99 today. So close. Yeah, so here it was $5 a can and it was $18 a 4-pack. But here's the funny thing, is right on their website. If you go to their website, right, for Ewing, on their website, it's $17 a 4-pack. So I'm curious how the local places to you are getting it for $2 less a 4-pack. I mean, I've seen that shit like that happen before, but that's crazy to me. That's crazy. Sam says, yeah, Adam, bit like when I see Root and Branch or Revolution here. We don't even see Root and Branch here, Sam. They're in New York City, and like we don't. Upstate New York just doesn't get Root and Branch stuff at all. Like I've not seen it throughout Western to Central New York. Don't get it. So anyway, go back to I've already talked about this beer on the pumpkin tier list that I did in the fall. Best pumpkin beer I've had. I would say it's not even close, but it's far and away my favorite pumpkin beer. Prairie knows what they're doing with these imperial pumpkin stouts. If you're somebody who wants to try pumpkin beers, but wants to do it where it's not just a base ale that's usually subpar, check out the Prairie stuff because I think they do a great job with it. Next, we have the last fruited sour on the. Here you go. Here you go, Josh. Boys and girls, check out that flow. Look at the flow. You see the hair over here? Look at that flow. Flow is fantastic. It's like I'm playing hockey. But this is collaboration. Oh yeah, and I gave that Prairie Basic Becky. That's the 5 out of 5. So we're starting to get into the 5 out of 5s. So that was number. That was actually number 4. This is number 3. Mortalis and Tin Barn, they're Hydra Melted Gelato. So this is a sour ale conditioned on blackberries, raspberries, lactose-free ice cream. So for those of you out there that don't like lactose in your beer or can't properly consume it, it's great. And marshmallows. This is the best fruited sour I've had probably in a couple of years. The pour is fucking absurd. I mean, I pour it and it's look at that beer. Like, let's see when I look at that. That fucking thing is insane to look at. Insane. That's an insane looking beer, right? Or beer. It was everything I wanted out of a beer that's calling yourself melted. It tasted like melted gelato. Was it sweet? Yeah. Was it overly sweet? Not really. It's fucking delicious, and it's the best Mortalis beer I've had probably in a long time. So Josh says, yeah, we don't get upcharged like we got Proclamation is the same price as the brewery. That's fuck. I don't understand how people make money doing that unless they get like a big like discount on like a big bulk like the distributors are buying or something. Adam says we had our first Root and Branch legit import here, but it was an other half collab and it sold out quickly. Huh. Interesting. Adam then says he's never seen Revolution here. Okay. I'm surprised, honestly. You would think that place would want to bring them in. And Sam says, I randomly had 2 Revolution barrel-aged stouts in the queue prior to one of the side project events. Ha ha. Sam, I thought I wanted to hang out with you tonight, but I'm noticing as this continues that I don't like you. I don't like you. No, not a fan. Anyway, Josh, go drink this. Josh, drink this fucking beer tonight. Bust this beer out if we hang out later. Drink this fucking beer. Put it in a bowl, whatever. I want to see it, A, explode, and I want to, B, see if you like it or not. And what? So look at the canned on date, Josh, right here. I don't know if they did another batch, but this one was canned on January 12th of 2022. I reviewed it just over 5 weeks old. It can't be the same fucking batch, can it? There's no way it can be the same batch. If it is, that's now. I think they made another batch later in the summer, but even so, it's probably like fucking 8 months old at this point. Yeah, it's fucking delicious. I don't know. Number 2, I'm disappointed Paul's not here because this is another one Paul would fucking flip his lid over because, you know, it's a Pennsylvania beer. So this was a collaboration between the New Trail Brewing Company and Trogs. Yeah, Trogs. This was their barrel-aged Lager's Path. So they lose me a little bit because they call Lager's Path a modern barley wine. And I know, Adam, you might want to choke someone out. They called it a modern barley wine. What the fuck does that mean? I have no idea. You don't know. Nobody knows. Modern barley wine. But they aged it in bourbon barrels. They aged it in both Maker's Mark and 1792 bourbon barrels. And it was given to me by Justin, who I mentioned earlier, gave me the Pizza Boy beer. It was fucking phenomenal. It was one of the best, obviously number 2 on my list, one of the best barrel-aged barley wines I've had probably in the last 5 years. It was fucking just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I know they did the regular Lager's Path, which was non-barrel aged, and I would have loved to try the base just to see. But yeah, it was insane. Yeah, you should, Josh. I guess show my melted gelato. Ha, yes. Ross says, I think because lagers aren't really the bread and butter around here, he's just trying to appease me and get me to stop talking. Stop talking about dark lagers. I fucking love dark lagers. I just want all the dark lagers. I think going for best beers of 2023, you're going to see some dark lagers in there. You're going to see some lagers in general. Just because I've just loved them recently. You know what I mean? Like I've really especially checked dark lagers. Fuck. All right. Sam says, I'm going to have to dedicate one full day of my Easter holidays catching up on Untappd check-ins. So bloody far behind now. Yeah, dude. You're probably going to get arthritis in your thumbs. Or it was mislabeled. Are we talking about the calling it a modern barley wine? No, they actually call it a modern barley wine. Specifically, they call that on the website. The Untappd, the Instagram post, they're specifically saying modern barley wine. And I don't know what they mean by that other than maybe like they're going for like a fusion of like an English and American. So maybe not as hoppy or hop forward as an American, but also not as malt forward and malt driven as an English. But I hate when breweries are like, oh, this is a modern barley wine. Doesn't exist technically. So, but it was a 5 out of 5. This beer was just phenomenal. It kind of even looks, when I hold it up to the light, it just looks dark. Did I hold it up? It pours out like a dark brown, but then you hold it up and it's like, it looks like a stout. It's just, I don't know. It's fucking great beer. So that was number 2, 5 out of 5 all day. And then my favorite beer of 2022 is a Treehouse beer. It's a Treehouse beer. Once again, with the FLX boys. And then here's the resource. This is Steven. Steven has sent me a lot of great beers. He has sent a lot of folks great beers, giving people great beers. He loves beer tubing. He's not a beer tuber, but he hooks people up. We hung out. I think this was back in like March of 2022, and he brought a bunch of cool beers, including including an Anchorage barrel-aged beer, Josh. Craig says, just setting up an after stream. Sweet. And then Josh says, well, if you like that Mortros one, I'd probably hate it. Yeah, we totally don't have the same palate. No, the price on the Ewing. It could have been mislabeled, yeah. The Ewing, 15 a 4-pack and the 17 at the brewery. I don't know, dude. I've seen beers be at the brewery a certain price and then get local distro and it's cheaper. So I don't know how they do that. Again, it might be like a bulk thing where they're like, hey, take 50 cases of it and sell it, and we'll give it to you for 13 or 14 bucks a 4-pack, because then that way we can move it easier. I don't know. Sam says, yeah, boy. And then Josh says, I only drink Czech Pilsners. Thomas, he says, what's up, Joe? What up, Thomas? I was shouting out the Dutch Beer Collective earlier multiple times because Gerben was here and popped in along with Douglas. So go check out Thomas Open. He does reviews. Go check out Craig Kent Beer Reviews, although I'm sure a lot of you already follow Craig. Sam doesn't really. He's short and stout. Is it short and stout beer reviews on Instagram? I think he's supposed to start a YouTube channel in the next 3 years. So go check him out as well. But yeah, so my favorite beer of 2022, Tree of Hope, barrel-aged barley wine from Treehouse, 14.2% barrel blended barley wine. They have a whole spiel here. They take select 26-month barrel-aged barley wine, original brewed with a hefty dose of oats, and combine it with standout barrels of a 22-month-old barrel-aged barley wine. It was fucking fantastic. It was just phenomenal. There's other Treehouse beers I drank last year, like their double shot cold brew, their Persist, their Queen Julius, which I like better than King Julius. Queen Julius to me was better. But this was the best Treehouse beer that I have ever probably had, honestly, especially of a non-hop forward beer from them. So that pretty much is the vast majority of what I drank in 2022. Now, what I'm going to do for 2023 is shout out to anybody who likes lagers or like other styles. I think instead of just going strictly in order of like my ratings of what I rated stuff, I'm going to start sprinkling in. Maybe I'll do like a non-hyped top 10 beer list. So we're talking no barrel-aged imperial stouts, no pastry stouts, no heavily fruited sours, no hazies, just everything else top 10, or maybe even a shelfy top 10 next year. I think that would maybe work a little bit better, because then there's a lot of shelfy beers I had last year that are fucking delicious that deserve some praise. That I should have won it. No problem, Thomas. You guys deserve it over there. I think all you guys, all the Dutch fellas deserve way more subs and love. I mean, you guys do pretty good for sure, but I still think you deserve more love. Last beer, Treehouse got bought out by AP. Just settle down, Josh. Cereal? What does that mean? Cereal question mark. Brain's not working as fast right now. Sure, you mean something, but I don't know what that is. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen because so the top list is here. I'm going to make it public. So if you go to my playlist, you'll get to see all the top 22 beers if you do want to check out any of the reviews specifically. But yeah, they're all here. And yeah, I thought this was the easiest way to do it. Just go through it this way instead of just like talking about it. You can actually see the reviews and whatnot. I didn't want to play them though, because I don't think the audio comes through, and if it does, like I don't know, I don't want to sit here and watch my reviews again. It's just he said, "Serious, cereal, serious." We're doing the no. Oh, you're asking? No, they didn't. Probably Josh likes to troll. They definitely did not get bought out by AB and Bev. 100% not. But now that they get better distro, it just seems like it. They don't get any distro. They just have like 8 locations now. It's ridiculous. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I think I'm about to shut this down. So I will say this. There was a lot of folks chiming in. We've got 15 people watching. I think we maxed out at like 23 or 24, which is pretty good, especially since it's just me talking about my fucking top lists of the year, just the channel anniversary and everything. So if you missed it, check out the Steve Austin Broken Skull double IPA review. I reviewed this one right before this show. It's its own video. It's about a half an hour long. But yeah, I'm sure quite a few people will probably check that out, considering today and tomorrow's WrestleMania. So Craig, are you here? So Craig said this. about 7 minutes ago. So what we're going to do, what I think we're going to do, don't hold me to it. This is what I think we're doing. I think we're going over to Craig's channel momentarily, and we're just going to have like an after show where we just have I'm sure we're going to have more people on the panel. Craig usually has an open panel, and we're just going to chat for a bit. And then I think at 8 p.m., this guy over here, Josh from Last Beer, don't believe what he says. This is not accurate, but he's going to do a beer bowl discussions or a live stream. I don't know if he said specifically beer bowl, and I'm probably going to hop over there for a bit. So go sub to Last Beer if you want to check out that live stream, or go sub to Craig over at Kent Beer Reviews. Craig puts out a lot of content. Josh doesn't really do content. He just live streams for the most part, but Craig definitely does reviews and stuff. But we're going to go check out their stuff, or I'm going to go over to Craig's momentarily. So catch me over there. Adam says, second red ale incoming. This one is from Baron Brewing, the new hype brewing for the UK. Nice. Please post a link. You want a link to Craig's channel? I can get you a link to Craig's channel. Let's see here. Here you go. This is Craig's channel. And then we're going to do Last Beers here too. I'm subbed to both of them, but I'm just typing them in my thing because it's too hard to look through. And then this is Last Beer. Yeah, so this is what I'll say to anybody who watched. What other live stream kind of things would you want me to do? Like, let's say I do this once a month or every couple weeks. Do you want me to do like a live stream where I invite maybe... I'll be honest with you. On my channel, I don't like inviting people on where there's like 6, 7, 8 people, and it's just because it gets chaos. I think if I do any kind of live stream like once or twice per month, I would do it where I invite like 2 or 3 other people, and we do like a round table discussion. It's not like super serious, but maybe we'll have some topics, whether it's beer news or talking about styles or favorite beers or just hanging out. Would that be something that would interest you guys? Once or twice a month, something maybe on a Saturday or Sunday, middle of the afternoon, early evening, something like that. Yeah, best beers of the so the links are posted. Burning Beer, just I think now I'm posting. Paul says cheers. Craig says yep in a few minutes. Sam says great live, brother, very entertaining. Thank you, Sam. Hopefully I see you in a bit. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it, bro. I all the chiming in, and also the help for Angie with Dewey and Imprint and Burley. I would have just, because I'm stupid, wouldn't have thought about that. 113 more subs to hit 1,000 for Paul. So Paul deserves Paul deserves like 10,000 subs. Paul is very honest. Like I was talking about Poppy Eats earlier, about honest about food reviews. Paul's honest about beer reviews, maybe to a fault, right? Fault, but Paul he's dead serious, dead honest all the time. Adam says best beer of the month. That'd be maybe like a roundup of like best beers of the month. That'd be like one of the topics. Maybe have like 3 or 4 topics. Hey, what did you drink this month that was good? Anybody else in the comment section, and just have a chat, because so much stuff is already been like there's so many people that have like weekly live shows and they discuss beer news and this and that. It's just like I kind of want to chat with people, but I also want to have like a set subject that we can just kind of touch on and kind of keep it the main subject, but still like go and veer off tangent a little bit. Thomas says I'd be okay with joining one of those. Cool. Yeah, I'd probably have like different guests every single time I do it, and you'd definitely be more than welcome, Thomas. Adam says, ooh, Styles, American Brown Ale, please. I would do it. I don't know how many there are in the shelves, but I'd totally do it. Rick says, sounds rad. And this would also be open to viewers. Like, Rick, if you ever wanted to hop on a live, Adam, obviously, you're more than welcome. But any viewer wanted to just hop on and talk beer, you don't have to be a beer tuber at all. I mean, so many people that have become beer tubers are entrenched in the live streaming of the beer tubing community are just viewers. Like Sam. Sam doesn't technically have a channel, but he's been chatting for like 6 months, a year now with all these guys in the UK, in the US. Just, you don't have to be a beer tuber to have a discussion. A live stream, we talk about recent favorite beer releases, beer news would be cool. Yeah, we could definitely make it something like that. Paul says, definitely to a fault. Yeah, I'm my own worst enemy. That's why no one sends you beer, Paul. You always say, I don't know what's happening. It's too honest. Can't be too honest, I guess. I don't know. He says, yeah, keep it small and beer related. They're the best lives. I agree. Paul wants to know what accent Thomas will use. If he only uses like the specific English accent that I love, Faunas, I can't do it. But if he just does it with him and James, dude, sign me the fuck up. Adam says, how many in the shelf? I have how many in the shelf? I have 3. Fuck, I probably have a couple in my cellar. I don't know. I don't have any in the fridge, I don't think. The last one I had, I think, was from Fox Farm. I don't remember. And then Rick says, cheers, sir. All right, everybody. So like I said, I'm going to highlight this one more time. We are going to be going over to Craig's Tent Beer Reviews. Check them out on YouTube. We're going to chat over there probably for probably a couple hours. Great guy. Probably be a bigger panel, maybe not. He did say he didn't want a shit show tonight. So usually when Craig says that, it's like no more than like 5 or 6 people, but we'll see. Sometimes Craig gets a little bit hammered. Things go sideways, right, Craig? Anyway, I'll be over there. Check it out. I thank anybody who donated money to the channel. Like I said, I'm not good with that stuff. All I can say is thank you. I don't think I deserve any kind of money for the channel. So the fact that I will definitely, like I said, I will go back in the channel. I'll buy some cool stuff. Anybody who did donate, whether you donated $20 or 15 during the course of the live, if you want to recommend something, I will go and buy that beer and review it specifically for you because you donated money. 100%. So anyway, check me over on Craig's channel. Thank you to everybody who stopped by. I'd go through everybody, but there's too many. Everybody who posts in the comment section, I appreciate you guys. A lot of the regulars, a couple folks that only chime in once in a while. Still really cool to see you stop by and congratulate me on the anniversary. So anyway, appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers. Do I do the 2 thumbs like the beer mill? I think I do. Here we go.